On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, there was a slight pause there in the recording because I didn't know if Audacity started. Hi, we're going to talk about the Lostbelt 3 announcement and also do the Lostbelt 3 Prologue and then talk about the Lostbelt 3 pregame. It's a lot of Lostbelt 3, basically, is what I'm saying to you. But also, happy Thanks-GIL-ING, everybody! It's right, it's your shiny Goldie man. He's back once again for another raid-up. It's like he's not even limited. Hi, I'm one of your hosts. I am the Director's Office Omega. With me, as always, is the rambunctious engineer who forgot to build me that private bathroom. Lucky.
Hi everyone, I hope you are enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Sports Full of Says. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest FGO related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should prepare for a feast of poison.
I really probably should have made a joke about either you or me about voice actor setups, but I didn't have a good one in mind. Also, I don't actually know if many people would get that. I need to check the view numbers on that video they did on the broadcast.
Oh.
Because I'm sure a decent amount of people watched it, but I know some people just don't, so it would be weird to start with that joke.
Well, maybe they'll go watch it now so they can understand the joke.
Yeah, hey, go check out Chaldea Broadcasting number 10 when we got...
Good.
Which also, we got pre-claimed by Bandai Namco before it even came out. Hopefully I get that resolved. If not, I just have to, I think it's just a 30-second clip. Because back during 5th anniversary in JP, Lucky pipped in their stream over his own commentary and his gameplay. It was like a tri-layered stream. You might even have also had chat on screen, because you do that a lot.
Mm-hmm. I know some moves.
And Bandai Namco marketing on like Wednesday night was like, by the way, we're copyright claiming this for Chaldea Broadcast Volume 10, US branch. I'm like, okay, guys, first of all, fair use. This is like a tiny pip video of like 3 other things happening, so it is absolutely fair use. It does not harm you watching whatever you're originally watching in any way. Number 2, I know for a fact that video you mentioned, it doesn't exist yet publicly. So you can't claim that my video that's been here forever counts yet. But anyway, hopefully it gets resolved, and if not, we'll have to clip it, because that was from your big, record-breaking stream, so I'll be glad to get it back. I think, though, it's probably just like what Japanese companies do with video game cutscenes and stuff. It probably was like a temporary block to make sure nobody was leaking anything before the stream came out.
Yeah.
Much like how we got blasted for no reason when you used Kaz-GIL in a stream, vanilla Kaz-GIL, when they were going to show his NP on a different video for summer. We got that one back eventually. It's just there's a weird system going on. It's like I've got a fucking future radar.
He gets blasted a lot.
We all get blasted a lot. Every time I do an Among Us stream, YouTube is like, "Are you sure this is safe for all advertisers? You guys say fuck a lot," and I'm like, "It's fucking fine." I told everybody to shut up for 30 seconds. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Anyway, let's talk FGO. So, I would like to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by patrons like Adam DeHarp, Ahango Comics, Architect 10, Blacklist OG, Carlos Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Rogue Robin, Shawnee P, some guy named Bob, Sodasun over 24723, and Zach Reed. If you like what we do and want to see more, consider supporting us on Patreon and get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies, and it really helps us out. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, day.
Okay, day.
So, oh boy, today we have got a show for you guys.
Hope you're happy.
So, let's go ahead, after all that pre-talker, that took about 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and dive into our first segment and check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mesh.
Senpai, 起きてください.
That's right, everybody, it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, our regular segment for pro tips. Pro tips. Man, I should eat dinner before we record more often. I'm like super high energy. It's the calories, man. I had a bowl of Easy Mac. Carbs. And cheese. Okay, so I got 2 pro tips for you today. Number 1, now that we know that Lostbelt 3 is coming sometime, later in November, after that will be Holy Samba Night, the next Christmas event. It has not yet had a rerun in Japan. It may never. It requires you to have Lostbelt 1 cleared, so make sure you are prepared to do the event. Obviously, you probably want to be catching up on story anyway, and there's a lot of great opportunities to do so, because there's a new story chapter coming out. But in addition to that, you want to make sure if you're playing right now, if this is literally your first day of FGO, get ready for those AP refills, baby. And make sure to follow a couple whales, because you want to be caught up before this event drops, because it will be your only opportunity to get some of this shit. For now. Like, I'm sure eventually it will do, like, a main interlude, or it'll just have a rerun or something, but it's obviously not in the plans right now. Okay, my second pro tip. This is something people have been talking about. There is a bug with distributing the rare prisms for spare welfares, okay? It will be resolved on the 25th. It's in their notes. It's buried in issues. I know nobody ever looks there, but it's in issues. You should still be fine to burn your spare copies of Altera Santa, because that's not actually how you get the rare prisms anyway. They are like USOs. They drop when you receive the servant. They come to your mailbox. But you can still hold on to your security blanket if it makes you feel better. So yes, it is bugged. You are not wrong. Everybody noticed this immediately and handled it. Yeah, no, the 25th is when, I think that's when some of the pre-campaign stuff ends. Not when some of the Thanksgiving stuff ends that we're going to talk about, but some of the pre-campaign stuff ends. Like I think that's some of the half AP or something.
Honestly, wait, if they're planning on maintenance on that day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What people are being, like, one of our patrons in chat now is like, 25th is pretty sus. I'm like, yeah, I get that same feeling. It's probably sus because that probably means that they're doing a maintenance that day. So they'll be able to turn off the servers and double check everybody who should be getting rare prisms.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very probable day for the 25th evening to be the Lostbelt 3 main. Just heads up, everybody. Okay, well, so that was our fun pro tip times. I hope you enjoyed them being fun. Because now it is time for not to be fun. Because, first of all, there's no records from the throne this week. I'm sorry, I have nothing to report. I already told you I got an NP2 Aresh. Nothing else has happened since then. I didn't get quite enough stakes to make her 10-10-10 from that big drop we just got, which we will talk about later, so... No real news. I got a lot of EXPs out of punching the lotto. Like, I got all my spare copies, but they're spares, so... I don't even have the rare prisms yet.
Lucky's still working lottos right now. But no, I'm gonna take the mic away for a second here, and we're gonna go to Not All the World's Evil, but damn close, because, well, for
the title is very ironic right now.
Yeah, I know, I was actually, that just clicked with me, I was like, But, as many people should know, this week, was the first week of the airing of Heaven's Feel 3, over here in the US. First showing was Wednesday, the 18th. They should have another showing going on today, and there should be a couple more, like over the weekend and next week. And being lucky, and super hyped for this, and been chomping at the bit since spring to see it. Had not one, but 2 tickets ready to go. I had one for Wednesday and one for Friday, because Lucky, thinking ahead, was all like, just in case something happens Wednesday, I want to have a backup Friday. I'm pretty sure if something happens to it, Omega's not going to be too mad at me if I'm all like, can't record, must movie.
I mean, hey, it would be fair.
Yeah. So, that's what I did. Now, Monday, our governor, over here in Washington State, issued a proclamation saying that because of rising COVID rates, good old Backstreet Boys reunion tours, they were enacting restrictions.
Very, very bad rising numbers. Those Backstreet Boys just won't stop reunioning.
And effective immediately, a lot of things happened. One of which was movie theaters being closed. Lucky basically got the door slammed on him for Heaven's 4-3 as he was walking through it. Not that's figurative speaking. It's figurative speaking. I wasn't actually at the movie theater and they're like, wham. That I would have started a fight. I'm not gonna lie.
That's just full-blown the let me in gif right there. That literally happened.
Yeah.
Take me to your projection room.
Take me to your mega media. I need a third M. Mega media. I'll think of it later. I like alliteration. Anyway, so as a lot of you people can probably guess, I was very upset. Very upset. But this is one of those situations where I'm very upset, but I necessarily don't have anywhere to direct said anger and feeling, because despite all my anger, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Lucky brought it home.
I understand the situation. So I can't really be mad at COVID. It's a non-thinking thing that just does what it does. Am I necessarily going to be mad at people for wanting to get out and do stuff? No, people been locked up for a while. They want to get out. They want to be free. Am I going to get mad at the governor for ignoring proclamation and try and clamp on this? No. Reasonably speaking, no, I can. Lucky has thoughts about politicians, but at the end of the day, they're fucking politicians. They're going to do what to do. And unless...
And also in this case, it's like, I mean, what else can he do? Not try and... Because there are states that are being fought because they're trying to do lockdown measures that they're not supposed to, right? Like, I think that happened recently in California. They got challenged on some of their restrictions.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because there are some politicians who are trying to lock this shit down, and I understand, obviously, like you said, Lucky, people want to go out. It's been a long year. 2020 has been a long year. Even without COVID, it would have been a long year for a lot of reasons. All those reasons you think it is, add like 2 or 3 more, minimum. But at the same time, we are kind of taking another bad turn a little bit if you look at the numbers. And
so
it's yeah. And like I do think that you talked about this, the theaters seemed like they were making efforts, right? Like when you locked in your seating, blocked out seats next to you, right?
Yeah.
I know you bought masks for this purpose.
Yep.
Did you talk about them on air yet? You definitely mentioned it in the mailbag episode. I don't know if you did.
Oh yeah, I bought 2 yeah, because I think I showed you a picture. Yeah, I bought 2. Yeah, I bought 2 Fate-related masks. One is a faux mask, which doesn't quite fit my face, and the second one is a really cool design of Sakamoto, but because of the mask design, it looks all crumpled. And I don't like the mask type, so I'm all like, so it's like this was a good idea when I bought them, but this is why you got to be careful about buying I guess third party.
Yeah. I still want to
wear.
Maybe just for kicks, I should look into it. I should be careful with my budget right now, though. But I should look in for getting a Yu-Gi-Oh! Mirror Force mask. Just repel the germs. I think Konami did some official stuff too. But yeah, no. So like they were taking their steps, but just we're in an unfortunate state where when this thing started, some people didn't take it seriously and continue to not take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You unfortunately see people having big parties, out there and stuff, even though they really shouldn't. So especially as we move into the holiday season, I think like I said at the start of this, I would like to tell everybody, hey, stay safe out there. Wash your hands, wear a mask, try not to get in large groups. I know it's rough, but hey, Lucky and I run this YouTube channel remotely, thousands of miles apart. Works out for us.
Literally 2 farthest points on the continental U.S.
Yeah, I think you can't really draw a straight line angle between anywhere else and get much further apart.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was all the way on the other coast.
Yeah. But there's a bit of a part 2 to this as well. So it's not necessarily all the words evil, but it's the follow-up. So I went into Discord hopping mad, and I said I'm writing a tweet about this at Aniplex, and if I get no response, I'm fucking calling them.
As you do.
I did not actually call them. I did write several emails though. I wrote an email to Aniplex, I wrote an email to Fathom Events, and I wrote an email to Adam Tickets, where I got my tickets, and basically explained the situation. I did actually get responses back for all of them. They were they were the short, we understand you're going trying times, but blah, 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 because of COVID and stuff. We have to follow regulations, blah, 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 blah. But thank you for notification, all that stuff. The usual kind of the jargon you get from, talking.
It's at the very least, somebody or something looked at your letter.
Yes. And, honestly, just knowing that actually cooled me off a lot. Cause that was the thing, cause that's the thing, the premiere's still going on in several states. People are going to see it.
Yeah, it's only in states where they renewed restrictions that it's being blocked.
Yeah, no, so it's kind of one of those things of, I didn't want to be overlooked for the problem that I'm having right now. And I got responses, and I'm like, okay, they know. I feel better. And interesting enough, I think it was was it Wednesday? Was it yesterday or Tuesday?
I think it was Wednesday.
Was it? Yeah. But
it would have been I think it was the first day the event would have happened. Well, there was some stuff.
Yeah. But Aniplex US actually came out and was all like, yeah, we understand that this has happened in certain states, please, get go here for your refunds. I didn't actually I don't know if they actually refunded my money. I didn't ask for a refund. I was like, no, you can keep the money. It's not the movie's fault. Take my money. I believe I am 100%. I am 110% sure that I would have enjoyed that movie twice.
I'm pretty sure that you're not the only one. I know several people who did get canceled in our server were like, I'm not sure I actually want a refund. Like, I want to go see the movie. I don't care about getting my money back.
Yeah,
I want the movie to do well.
Yeah, so that too, because you got to vote. Like I said, vote where your wallets. It's like I want them to be like, the movie theaters are closed. How do we make this much money? And it's just all like,
yeah, because movie theaters are taking a whacking.
Yeah.
This is off topic, but kind of related. And actually, who knows? Maybe because there's all this big Papa Sony integration, we'll get some movement on this if they think about it. But I know that HBO Max, which is owned by Warner Brothers, I think is the direction that goes. But apparently they've come out and said they're going to release the new Wonder Woman movie, also digital day one on Christmas, the same day it goes to theaters.
Oh, neat.
So yeah, it's going to be on HBO Max. I don't know if it's on other services. Hopefully, with some delay, they're not animals. HBO Max is a little bit on my shit list because as far as I can tell, they seem to just gobble up all the movie licenses and sit on them. And I'm like, the rate at which I want to watch movies is so rare. I can't really pay a monthly fee for that. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm just stuck renting. Not that that's bad. Had good response with rental type stuff before, but yeah. So like. Hopefully, we can get some digital distribution sooner. Papa Sony, Aniplex, Funimation, whoever's responsible for this.
Like I said, I'm buying fucking the Blu-ray special edition. Like, no one will fucking stop me. But yeah, I would if they decide to do some sort of digital distribution earlier, I'd be down to clown with that.
Oh yeah, no, like even maybe not for because like Blu-rays are expensive. Like, but definitely if we got some decent pricing on a rental, I'd be like, I'd consider it. I had that conversation earlier because we were talking about holidays and how in the family we got a lot of birthdays. Usually for my birthday, we get fast food because I don't hardly ever eat fast food. Especially these days because don't get DoorDash or anything down here. But and we watch a movie, so it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go to a theater? No, I don't think so.
No.
So probably
I'm pretty sure home theater and home systems have been selling like hotcakes.
We're already set up. That was one of the things my dad did when we revamped the house was he wanted a nice home theater. He's got a projector and the surround sound in the basement. It's great. Occasionally, listeners to our shows may have heard it through the floor. I don't know if that gets completely caught in the edit, but yeah. It's off topic, but my plans are to if we can find a good rental for it is to see Tenet finally, because man, I love that Chris Nolan. But all right. Do you have any further questions or comments about that story, Lucky? Anything further to add to us? No.
I think it has been wrapped up nicely.
All right. Everybody, stay safe. If you are looking for a refund, your info is out there. Shout out to those of you lucky enough to go to the theater. Gosh, I hope you were safe out there because it's once again risky times. Stay at home, play phone games. All right. Let us then check in with. Did you finish your master missions? Which I think is this correct? I copied this off the wiki again. I really should have looked myself, but I was very busy and I need to charge my phone right now. Lucky, you're playing FGO. Can you look at the master missions? Is it the right list?
Let me punch. It's going to take me like a minute to get like through 2
All right, well, I'll read what's in my notes, and if that's completely wrong, we can always go back.
All right.
I can look like an idiot. I don't care. So, according to my notes, we've got defeat 3 archers or riders, defeat 3 lancers or assassins, defeat 3 sabers, casters, or berserkers, put 1 or more archer class servant in your party, and complete any quest 5 times. Complete 5 quests, complete 10 quests. Which, that sounds rightish.
It sounds like a Christmas rerun.
Yeah, that is absolutely a do the event, especially with that put archer class in there. Mm-hmm. The only question is, I'm pretty sure this wasn't last week's. All right, people are saying it sounds right, so I think that is correct. We will maybe double check, but yeah. Do your master missions. You probably already got them done. You're probably more focused on those bonus master missions, because, God, there's a lot of those. Though if you want to wrap up those Heaven's Feel special master missions for that command code, and those extra Saint Courts. By the way, guys, I did break 500, as expected, because they keep giving it to us. There are wild beast type enemies in the Christmas rerun, so if you find the right nodes, you can do some stuff. There's at least 1 per saber node for the big sand drops. Assuming that not everybody hasn't already blitzed through in the final, 12 hours or whatever we got. Actually, no, it's shorter than that. It ends tonight at midnight.
I've only I'll talk about the rerun in
4 or 5 hours. Yeah, we'll probably throw in some rerun thoughts in there. Anyway, let's move on to some new news in skelegrams. So my first note here is NA stream recap. Technically, it's not a stream; it's a broadcast. But you know, it premieres. It's like watching a stream. There's a chat that you ignore anyway. So those we did a little watch along. It's part of my guidelines. Is don't look at chat. Shush when I want you to shush, and everybody be cool. No spoilers.
Stop being 10 seconds in the future, guys. Stop it.
That unfortunately we could not stop, though. There were still some spoilers. I did like one point of the moment of timing where Axe was like, because Axe was like 10 seconds ahead of us, was like, for some reason was like, oh, there's bad news. And I'm like, no, Axe, nah, there's no bad news. And then Albert starts talking, and once I see him speaking, I'm immediately like, oh, is he just going to end the stream? Yeah, he's going to end the stream. He's ending the video. It's the end. Got him. Fucking Albert Zordon. Well, okay, let's just talk about it. So,
yeah.
Number 10 came out. Albert introed and outroed it, but I don't know if you'd call him the host because he is on a fucking Zoom call projected onto the back of the studio space as just a giant head because he's a webcam. So it's like there were all kinds of jokes. Wizard of Oz, Zordon, like every like giant floating head joke you could Zordon was Albert because he's just in the back looming.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like I think his webcam was displayed like reversed to the guys in the studio. But there were still some jokes about which way everybody should look. And they had, unfortunately I forget his name, but they had he's actually an Aniplex of US employee, but I think he's one of their handlers. He was actually doing the hosting bit, basically being Aniplex / Albert's like hands and eyes while actually in Japan.
Yes.
You know, reading notes, introing people, keeping things going, because obviously Albert's, you know, over here doing his job. Translating that prologue.
I salute you.
So he was joined by Ria Takahashi, MASH's voice actress, and Noriko Shitaya, VA of Sakura in Heaven's Feel 3, and all Sakuras actually, but also Bibi and upcoming servant Liang Yu, Leon. I'm reasonably sure if I remember rightly in FGO she tells you just to shorten her name to Leon, so we're going to do that, because even the Japanese know that even for Japanese people, pronouncing those Chinese names gets confusing sometimes. So it was, even though obviously this was filmed a while ago, it was very appropriate for them to bring her on.
Oh, yeah.
As noted later when they ran Leon's NP, and she was like, oh gosh, who could be voice acting her? She's so nice and gentle sounding, so great. Who could it be? I don't think on FGO streams, I don't think we've seen a whole lot of Noriko-sans, but she's got a great energy to bring too. Rie played up her senpai-ness and you know, greeted everybody in English. Wanted to make sure to be on point. I actually learned that she's never been to America.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, gosh, I hope that after the world stops being upside down, that she can come to a panel or something. I'm sure she would be received very well.
Oh, I bet.
Just you know, shout out a senpai to the crowd. Everybody falls over dead.
That's how you kill.
So yeah, there's a lot of big excitement. They did the usual pre-show faffening. Talking about just general ongoing things, how people are doing, how they play the game. Nerd levels came out very strongly.
Yes.
Rie revealed that I'm actually pretty sure this was known to other parts of the audience because she runs the Chaldea radio show. Another regular FGO podcast, who are much more official than us because it consists of Mash and Nitocris's voice actresses. So they're a lot more plugged in than we are.
Well, Japan has this thing about just having radio fucking shows for everything, and it's great.
Yeah, no, they have a strong radio show culture over there, which I believe also plugs into like podcasting and other stuff very well. They talked about stuff. Ria revealed that she talked about her secret way to enjoy the game is to use that third support setup, as we should paraphrase, the support setup that no one else can see, for your own personal enjoyment. And she revealed that she has a full Maya Sakamoto lineup. And then
don't tell her.
And then, interestingly enough, Noriko-san is trying to collect an all Kawasumi lineup, Ayako Kawasumi. And they've been working together long enough. I'm sure there would be nothing. But she did say that Kazumi-san would be mad at her if she found out. I think the real person she has to worry about is if Yu Asakawa finds out and be like, why am I not your lineup? Though, to be fair, Noriko would have a legit comeback with, well, there's only 5 of you. Obviously, that means you should hire Yu Asakawa more. Delay works. But yeah, so they had some fun... Okay, Leon. I don't know if I'll be able to stress the double Lee enough, but I can say
Leon.
it at least... Sorry, almost died. I can say it at least American enough to understand. Good old Leanne.
Leon. Yeah. Wait, was Dallas yelling at you for pronunciation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. I didn't even have to look at chat, and I knew that.
Well, yeah, I'm glad they shortened that to Leon. I don't think I could do that last bit easily.
Actually, let me look at chat here real quick.
I've also just realized that people are fucking around with the new reply feature in general. I think I'm going to mute that because as funny as that is, it's very distracting. So they had the usual fuck around, and then as was pointed out in chat, they brought in Nissan, and the way they did that cut, that pro cut, it's like he's using instant transmission. He just pops in, like they cut to Albert full screen and then cut back, and he's just in his chair, like boom.
No, clearly he used independent manifestation.
Yeah, high level powers for Nissan.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the whole breakdown for us. Lostbelt 3 is coming. They did not say exactly when, just it would be later in November.
Late November.
They talked about who will be on the banner, which is Leon, Prince of Landling, and Xiangyu. Which, by the way, that one is already recorded and is in the hopper. I just need them to give me a solid date before I fire it off. Patrons can already view it, because I like to upload those way ahead of time. Yeah, I know his actual name is it Gao, it's like Chengong? But I'm gonna guess it's probably, Chengong. I'm gonna guess it's probably a Japanese, like, folkloric thing or something for some reason. They prefer to call him the Prince of Landling. Like, I don't know if that's more of, like, the legend title or what. So, but it's just an interesting quirk of the servants. But yeah, so talk about good old Prince of Landling and Xiangyu and all that stuff. Showed the banners, showed the NPs, all the stuff. Actually, I didn't even realize it, but especially now after talking about Lostbelt 3 prep later, this is a strong banner for non-damage NPs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Zhang Yu's the only one who has a damaging NP in that setup. Lanling is squad buffs and team debuffs. Leon is all self buffs. She's kind of like Hozoid in that regard, where her NP only exists to make her cooler. So it's a pretty interesting spread. But yeah, they talked about that. They did some story previews and stuff, which they had Mash read out. Very nice. Read all the stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Nissan revealed that Bond Grails will be coming with Lostbelt 3. We'll probably have a more detail about that later. But basically, the idea is if you have a servant who's already at Bond 10, you can feed them a Flames of Chaldea, or is it Lantern of Chaldea? It's a thing that looks like a cup with fire in it. Everybody calls them Bond Grails, because that's kind of the function they serve. Anyway, you feed it to a servant who's already Bond 10. They gain a new Bond level, and if you max out this Bond level, you get 30 Saint Quartz, and you can take them with 5 total Bond Grails to a total of Bond 15. You don't get anything extra for this level, but it does kind of allow you to use servants who maybe you weren't using because you were worried about losing out on bond points for others that you're trying to raise up. And just in general also means it really rewards you for sticking with using those guys further, because that's a 10 spin every pop.
Yeah, we get 30 Saint Quartz for every level we achieve,
yes.
Right?
Now, it's a fuck ton of bond points to get there. Like, I'm talking about the jump from the basic bitch Mystic Code to the Lostbelt Mystic Code, the Arctic one. Like, you know how much of a gap there is there? It's about the same for the bond points for Bond Grails. Like, it's a exponentially larger number, but still, it's good. Yeah, let me look it up, because it'll be in the RP shop, which is part of the reason why people are a little agitated about the RP bug, because it's like, okay, but I need those. At the very least, if you've got a lot of spare rare prisms, it's actually something you can spend it on. Let me see if I can find an entrant on it, since obviously it will not be.
Is it only 3?
Let me check. Okay, exchange mana prisms, exchange rare prisms. Gosh, has this not been updated? Of course it isn't. This must be, like, set only to the NA one. It doesn't include the thing.
How there?
Don't worry, guys. All this dead air will be cut out. And then people watching the show at home will be like, Omega, what dead air? It doesn't exist. There was, like, half a second there. And I'll be like, that's right. Editing.
Cutting timing space.
I'm going to fold it. I really wish I could remember exactly what this thing is called so I could search it. Because that's the unfortunate thing about wikis, is they always use the real names. And I can't call them what people call them in the fandom, because it's not actually called a Bond Grail. Everybody just calls them that, because they're good.
I'm gonna get so much mileage out of this gift. People don't understand.
Alright, Rare Prism Exchangey.
Oh.
Guys, are you...
Wait.
I don't.
Yeah, Crush Can.
It is in the Rare Prism shop, right, guys? That's where it's gonna go? Because I cannot... Did the wikis, all our wikis literally not update for this? Because I can't, like, find it mentioned anywhere. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay, it is here. Alright. It is 3. Okay, got it. It took me a second, but yeah, okay. Yeah, it's 3. It is in Rare Prism shop, okay. It was at the top of the list, and I had to find it because it was hard to pick out. Okay, alright, glad we cleared that up. So yeah, so those will be coming when Lostbelt 3 drops. Not earlier. It's part of the Lostbelt 3 release. Or is it actually? Is it part of... Pretty sure it is. Let me actually look on the Interdab. Unless you can buy one right now, it's part of Lostbelt 3. Did they actually do that in news? You're first for 1 MP. Yeah, okay, it's not listed in the Thanksgiving thing, so yeah, it must be coming to Lostbelt 3, which is good. Speaking of which, though, after all that, basically the setup, it'll be soon. He was like, and then in America, you have Thanksgiving, so here's some fun stuff. And it's Thanksgiving time, yay! We will go into detail about all that later, because I've got all that stuff noted down. Mm-hmm. But basically, he announced that, there was a lot of clapping. He talked about the banner. Ria in particular was very jelly about the banner. Got some good stuff. And then in the outro, when Nissan was like, I have one more thing for you. 10 Saint Courts. And actually, all throughout this stream, by the way, Nissan has been trying to use his English more, because he talks about how he wants to one day be able to converse with Albert in English. Because normally Albert has to speak mostly Japanese on these kinds of videos and streams, because they're being made in Japan.
Oh, also shout out to the fucking whoever was doing the typesetting, who just intensified the right when Ria was just going ne. Top percent.
Yeah, no, like the official hard coded subs were very good.
Yeah.
But he put a lot of effort into it and was really trying and spoke to it. And Rie and Noriko both learned how to say Saint Courts in English. And we're like, oh, Saint Court. Like, she was like, oh, I understood all of that. Saint Courts. Oh. And it was a fun little video. You should check it out. So the reason why we got blasted by Bandai Namco Marketing, who must be the marketing firm behind all this, is that at the end they showed the special audio medley that they played during the 5th anniversary. Not the Eimer concert or Maya Sakamoto, but just the internal FGO music. They recut that video and played it for us. It's good. They had some good stuff. It ends with Grand Battle. It's pretty good. So yeah, that was the stream. Lucky, do you have any more thoughts about stream time? Premiere time?
Oh no, as I said, they did a lot of fathing about. They brought up a lot about the learning with manga.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a big step. They
shared a lot of storyboards. Talked about how like voice actors. I can't remember who was Gurako's VA.
Yeah, they mentioned her by name a couple of times, but I always feel like I was distracted when they did, and I could not see.
Yeah, and just talking about how in some of the scenes they were just like ad-lib energetically, and and a lot of the chat at the time was just dying thinking about that.
Yeah, no.
Let's see.
And Rie talked a lot about how she has to play the straight man in that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was literally pinching herself to keep a straight face, so she didn't break out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
They talked a lot about comments that they got when they did the premiere a couple of years ago in Japan.
Oh yeah, it's got a fuck ton of views. But let's see. Other than that, yeah, no, I think that's good for the stream.
Tomoko Kaneda. All right. Okay. All right. So let us move into the next step of the news and talk about Thanksgiving. FGO Thanksgiving Special 2020. Going from 11/19 to 11/29. 10 days. I know, it's a little weird, but it works out. I guess, because it started right away. That was another great Nissan special. It starts right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes basically until the month ends. So that's fair. Fair enough. All right. So there are even more limited master missions for a command code and some CE XPs. Boar King. And also some statues. Yay, command codes.
Yay.
Actually, that said, we'll talk about Lostbelt 3 stuff later, because I got the pregame lined up. But I'm already imagining the time has come to pop some of those on lockers and slap some command codes on John. Because shit's about to get crazy in here. So, until the 29th, we have half AP dailies. All dailies, half AP. QP, Mats, EXPs, go apeshit. This is going to especially spicy for people who get new servants either on the Thanksgiving banners, which we'll talk about in a second, or on the upcoming Lostbelt banners. Pretty spicy. Love it a lot. Real great stuff. And then here's the big one. This is actually, by the way, quite early for us. They did not drop this system until around when Lostbelt 4 came out. Main quest rewards have been added.
Yes.
If you don't know what that means, when you clear a story quest, you get materials. This is retroactive. So most players, if you're caught up on the story, but if you're at any level of the story, will have immediately after maintenance received a very full present box full of materials.
So good.
Not as many as you'd probably like for some of them. There were only like 18 stakes, I think, like 15 rings, stuff like that. Some were small,
enough.
But there were some pretty big drops. There were like 30 feathers, etc. So you're going to get a big infusions of mats right now, and now all future main quests will do this. So this really ups your mats gain. I'm really glad they added this early, and we'll continue to see the fruits of it when new story is added. It's a very robust system to actually let you get back in there.
Yep.
It's very good.
I was able to actually get over the soaps hump for Scotty, so now she's sitting at 999.
Albert was also very impressed by those soaps, the Aurora Steel. So this is a pretty big one. And of course, there is a banner rotation going on through this period. Looks like they're combining a couple different things. They stole some people from New Year's, but also from the Winterfest banners, which makes sense, because we obviously won't have a Winter Festival. But it's got a rotation for everybody's favorite super limited ultra rare roll from now servant, Gil. Also Kentoki, MHX, Saber Shiki, Ishtar, Musashi, who, ironically, despite being the headliner, her face is on the picture, the banner. She doesn't show up for like 5 days. Like, I don't think she shows up until the 25th, so, fun times. And Ivan. So this is where you get your second Ivan rate up. All of that's very interesting. I think I mentioned this earlier, or it might have been off mic, but I think I may need to throw a couple of tickets on that Musashi day. Just because I should try when they present me with an opportunity. But that will probably be, like I said, just before Lostbelt 3 drops, and I do on that new banner want to spend my tickets for those brand new servants, because I'm not going to be rolling with full courts on that one. Or the new CEs. The new CEs are also good. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So I don't know if I'm going to go crazy, because I've tried to go crazy for Musashi before and it's not worked, so maybe I'll try a subtler approach and see how that works for me.
Subtle works for a Resh.
It's true. I just casually tossed some tickets and like, oh, hey, MB2.
I don't know. I don't necessarily need anybody, but I would like a Kentoki. I still want a Berserker Kentoki. Like,
he should have his solo read-up day coming soon, because he's second on the list.
Yeah.
Also, people were asking, Ivan was the Winterfest, the circus type thing. So, yeah, it's good they're bringing it back. They're doing a rotation. They're doing multi-step rotations as well. Some days we'll have multiple servants on read-up. And it will persist for a while. It's going to go the full, 10 days or so. So, you got a little bit of time to think about it, people.
Well, if it's going 10 days, it might. I'll see. I'm going to see. Actually, fuck. I don't know when.
I would double check the read-up schedule.
Yeah.
Just because,
Everyone post math gifts.
Math time. Well, so here's the weird thing. I don't know why people. Was it because of the New Year's lucky bag? A lot of people were posting or was it the free SSR ticket? A lot of people were posting that image last night, and I'm like, why are you doing this to me, guys? We literally just had the SR ticket. I just got done with every 5 minutes somebody would post that image with crudely drawn circles or dots or slashes in MS Paint. And why are you doing this to me again, guys? It's a lot of math gifts. But the Konone one is my favorite. Dog math. But there was some calculating people were doing then. Just
Oh, boy.
Okay. I think that's all the news. We still got, I believe, Imaginary Scramble is going until the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what they do next there. I would guess probably jump into New Christmas, but I don't know.
I'm assuming.
Hypothetically, if they got enough time, they could do a short rerun of Samba Night and go into New Christmas. I don't know. It's that their plans, though.
I don't know. Would they double up on reruns then? Wait, no, they already did fucking Nightingale. That's right. Fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Nightingale got out of the way before Imaginary Scramble. They did that super early.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, we don't know necessarily.
It was so early that Lucky forgot.
People have been talking about rumors that we're also going to get a new story event again, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Back-to-back new story?
Nah,
I mean, I'd love to see it, but I also don't think so.
Nah, Imaginary Scramble was supposed to be a 4.5 story chapter, if I remember what they said correctly.
Yes, I believe we've assumed that, and yeah, it's they're going to work on the idea was that this would link to thematic moments that they could not cover but wanted to cover that would have happened between Lostbelts 4 and 5, which from my rough understanding of all three of those stories involved, Imaginary Scramble and the two Lostbelts, that seems accurate. Like, it seems like that's where it fits in the timeline. We're going to talk about how confusing the timeline is later. But it fits in the timeline, and it has that relationship, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know if they've got a writing team and a dev team ready to roll out. Oh, though actually, I suppose it's kind of news. Maybe it goes better in free talk. Do you want to talk about the revenue reporting thing?
I guess. Yeah, we can talk about it now. I mean, it was a news article that came out.
Okay, yeah. So, it has come out that Delightworks reported on their income for a annual period, I believe, ending July 30th, where they made, what was it, like 80% less profit than last year. But a lot of people have a concernicus about this, okay? I want to remind everybody that the great Mark Twain once said that there's three kinds of lies. Lies, damned lies, statistics. Which my statistics professor quoted to me, because he understands it. Statistics is an interesting discipline. The numbers don't actually lie, but the numbers are recorded and reported by humans who are full of lies. So
yes, they are.
The thing to think about here is to remember, and Lucky knows a decent amount of this as well, profit is how much money you made. Like, that is the amount you are in the black. You are making that much money.
It does not necessarily mean how much you spent or invested.
But presumably this is the amount of profit they're making after operating costs, right?
Yeah.
Like, they are making this much money. Yes, as opposed to in the previous year period, they made only like $1 million as opposed to, or 100 million, is it? I'm trying to remember the conversion. What's the conversion between yen? It was like, they only made 1 billion yen as opposed to like 8 billion yen or something.
Yeah.
Which translates to a number in USD, but the proportions are similar.
The proportions are similar. That's the rough estimate, but it's like, I think it's like 80 yen is like at the
yeah, and exchange rates change, but so so they still made a decent amount of capital. Just it wasn't as big as last time. And the important thing I think to think about is to remember this is not literally in the last year or this year for sure. It is not counting anything that has happened after July 30th of 2020. But the thing to remember is that I would not say FGO was particularly hit hard necessarily by COVID, but they were hit like in a layout and workflow type. They had to cancel their big event for anniversary, which I'm sure was excuse me. Hold on. Okay. I can speak now. I'm sure that canceling the event was a lot of money flushed down the toilet. That happens sometimes in business.
Yeah, no, honestly, they probably didn't get a refund, and they probably had to pay a cancellation fee.
Yeah, hopefully, because that would have been because they held out for the longest time. Hopefully that because of like government orders and the crisis, they could have skipped maybe some of that. But yeah, no, typically if you cancel on a venue, they're like, okay, well, you're breaking the contract, you got to pay it out.
And then I think they also count the money that they didn't make from it, because revenue from sales there would also have been factored in.
Yes, that would include merch and other additional steps, which are obviously out. And hey, they probably produced a whole shitload of brand new merch. So that's also got its own inferred costs. And the other thing
honestly, that's probably something too. They probably like developed a bunch of merch, and now it's just sitting in a fucking warehouse somewhere.
Yep, no, because that's what happens. Because they are. This is the unfortunate problem with being all about that exclusive in-person merchandise is if you don't have exclusive in-person events, you can't sell it.
Yeah.
You guys should really just throw that shit on Amazon.
I mean, they did do an online store, but I don't even know if that did that well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their stock levels are, but that's where you throw that shit on Amazon at a decent markup and are just like, go ape shit. It needs to go. Yeah, no, they're still super high. Like, they're still in the top 10 list. They're just not making asshole money right now.
I wonder if
they weren't last year, because here's the thing. Here's the thing I wanted to point out about July 30th. That means that's really before Castoria's banner, that is before Summer 5, and that is before all the other events that have happened this year. So, yeah, that means that isn't accounting for all the money they would be making, because I'll be real with you. The first half of 2020 for FGO-JP, not very big, not very good. Very sparse. Not a lot of content. A lot of reruns. Not a lot of banners. And don't even talk about Juggernaut games. Listen, I love Genshin Impact. I'm still super... We'll talk about this more on What's Up, but Lucky, I hope you're prepared. I'm going to be slightly sassy about the Game Awards again. Have you looked at the nominees? Because they're out.
Oh yeah, well, not all of them, but I saw Game of the Year. I can understand why a little people feel sassy.
Not just about that, but also in both mobile game and RPG. Well, basically, Genshin Impact's got some nominations, and I'm like, okay, all right, guys, okay. I like the game. I feel slightly sassy that FGO did not get any nominations in the history of the Game Awards, because I do think that for some aspects it is a better game, and it especially considering we know Genshin has some flaws that would not be appealing to casuals. I'm a little sassy pants, but it's like all right, guys, baby's first gacha game, okay.
Well, yeah, I can understand it. And here's the thing: if they set a precedent of a gacha game getting into mobile thing, it sets a precedent for further Game Awards.
True, because there is a best ongoing game, and another important thing to remember about the loss of the reduced amount of profit was I think like a week before that, Nissan was in an interview. He said FGO is going to hit its 10th anniversary. He said FGO is going for 10 years. Like that, their current plans go that far. So I'm like, no, that sounds fair. I believe it.
Oh yeah, no, it's like actually, I was talking about this with our Discord, like, I don't know, I think it was like last week, but the reason why probably FGO Arcade has been throwing fucking hook after hook is they're probably trying to keep interest maintained in the game so it doesn't go fucking under. Like,
yeah, because arcades have obviously been hit by COVID, and Sega in particular is like, we're trying to maybe get out of this business.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's been rough.
Mm-hmm. And boy, are they trying, and they're doing everything in their power. And like I said, I think that means that a lot of the stuff that's quote-unquote exclusive to arcade is not actually exclusive. It's just that FGO has a much more reasoned, thought-out, pre-planned, long fucking term schedule. So they're not blowing their wad. Arcade is much more loosey-goosey, fast and loose. Hey, let's sell some fucking real-life cards, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, game industry is weird.
Yeah,
right now we're having a weird one. We're having a weird one, but it's okay. Just so long as Cyberpunk actually fucking comes out this year. Please, you're killing me, guys. You released a gameplay trailer. I'm dying over here. Anyway, let's wrap up this thought. So yeah, that's our opinions, I think, on the news and the stats. I don't want to say it's concerning. I am not concerned. It is unfortunate news.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean the doom and gloom that you might think it means just because people are like, gasp, but 80% reduction of profit. That doesn't always mean, what you think it means.
Like, honestly, they probably have to shell out a good amount of money for, like, all the fucking personal protection they have to fucking put into
yeah, that is an important thing. Whenever they have an event now, you see those big plaster screens blocking people.
Yeah.
There was Ria did some great joking about that on stream, like gesturing to the screen between the two talents, because that's what you do. You gotta keep everybody separate. I don't know how super effective that is, but it is an effort, and it allows them to go without being masked. Which, as a guy who listens to a lot of audio stuff, it is I acknowledge masking is slightly awkward. Like, if Lucky and I had to sit in a studio, I'd much prefer to have some plexiglass between us than for us both to be masked on mic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because it would sound kind of like this. This is just me holding my hand over my face, but you can immediately tell the audio quality is different, right? Actually, I do have a mask. I could go up and put it over my face to see how it sounds, but it's not a self-tying kind, and that's really not worth it for a gag. But yeah, so, like, it's just part of the system.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to
Gosh, that's a great one, Dallas. Rate of violent crime goes up, and ice cream sales get higher. It is true, but it means nothing, because correlation is not causation. But people will be dumb.
Yeah, but, oh, man, I had something I was going to say, and I totally forgot what it was.
Well, I could say the other thing is I don't know how much, because this was Delightworks specific reporting, I don't know how much Delightworks chips in for stuff like anime adaptations, stage adaptations, etc.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because, like, I would imagine that usually what you do is that what normally happens is, like, Ufotable probably is like, hey, we want to do this project with you. We'll do a licensing agreement. We'll split the profits with you, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Well, it's not only that, because Ufotable, you gotta remember, animation studios aren't as big as one would think. They usually get their budget and then they start hiring freelancers and shit for it.
Yeah, okay. So they come to this agreement on how they're going to share the profits, and there may or may not need to be some startup cash involved. How that works, though, with internal productions, like with Babylonia, which was produced by an anime studio that Sony owns, Papa Sony. I don't know how that works, but I don't think Sony owns Production IG? Because I know because Studio IG's been doing a lot of freelancing. Like, they've done a lot of work with Netflix and stuff, so, like, I don't know, like, who hands them the money to make 2 Camelot movies? Does that technically come out of Delightworks' budget, or does it come out of Type Moon's budget, or what? We don't know. Another important thing to remember is Delightworks is not solely also producing FGO. They are actually in dev of new games right now. They had a partnership that fell through this year, and they're working on another gacha-style game for a different franchise that I don't know.
If they're developing a new game, they might be just sinking costs into developing that.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? For the last year, right? If they didn't have a super high profit level off FGO, and they're spending money on research and dev costs. Oh, a Sakura Wars thing, yeah. So, yeah, there's definitely, right, some different aspects there to, like, where all this money goes. That's it. I could tell another story, but I don't want to delay too much. We got a big show ahead, and we need to get into Mailbag before we go too much longer. We've been going for almost an hour already, Lucky. But,
go us.
The business things are super interesting, and some of it is scummy, but some of it is just, you don't know where money goes sometimes. And, like, hopefully the people in the company know where the money goes, but us as the consumer, it takes a little bit of legwork to figure that out and look at those stuff, because you can spend money developing things, whether that's talent, tech, whatever, a project, for quite a while before you start making your money back on it. And that is absolutely a thing you will do, where you will take the money from Project A and throw that into Project B, and you don't, as a company, make as much money this year because you're planning on making more money in the future.
Honestly, I'm like, if you're gonna talk about, like, the report, like, give me the actual financial report in English, please, God.
Well, yeah, there's that. This was, I think we both first saw it on, like, Anime News Network as just a blurb.
Yeah.
Hey, and I appreciate that they went to effort to do some coverage, but yeah, like, we did not necessarily get the source on the production. Like, I'd love to see their actual financial report, and if they have any tracking on like who goes where, because God knows what the Japanese system is like.
But yeah, let's call it there for that topic. And with that, I do believe we are done with the news. Pachi, everybody.
Yay.
So, we're going to move straight on to Let's Talk FGO Mailbag. The hour, yes, only an hour this week, where we, mostly me, are going to read out what you guys have sent in. I already have it up. And let's see here. We have 36 comments today. As usual, it's the week where we actually have lots to talk about that we get the most comments. How dare. But let me pull up a 1 hour timer. Close 80 tabs. Okay. Actually, why is BlueStacks on my main monitor and my browser on my sub monitor? That makes no sense.
I don't know. I remind you that's another project I need for probably next year at this rate. Second monitor.
Second monitors are great, yo.
Yes, Omega is still running this show off one monitor.
Lucky's thinking about getting a third monitor.
Well, what was it in that? I think it was in that Trash Taste. I don't know if you watched it, Lucky, but they had Calliope Mori on.
Yeah, I know.
And she talked about how that she has 4 monitors.
Wild.
And she doesn't have the space for them. Like, I think she said that at one point she was living in a place where she put her mouse on her desktop tower because she had no room for it. But she had 4 fucking monitors.
That reminds me, I need to send Hololive in a fan letter. Anyway, we are going to get started. The timer starts meow. And our first one is from that one guy exists, getting really tired of these story fights. Who says, "Hey, Lucky and Omega, hope you're doing well tonight. No question this week, just wanted to wish you all a good week and bless your future roles." Well, thank you, my dude. I hope yours go well as well.
And, boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Story fight, man.
Next one comes from Fate Impact developer team. Interesting. But they say, what if... Oh, wait, hang on.
It's a little long.
It's a little long. Should I go... Should I... Nah, I won't go super fast. What if
We've
FGO was
definitely
like...
had longer questions.
Yeah. What if FGO was like Genshin Impact type of game where each singularity and Lostbelt has a map and you can explore them and do combat, do the story, farm, and maybe the combat is a mix of action arcade based and Genshin team based, swap and buff, which we normally do in FGO with our team comp on DPS, 2 or 3 buffers, and the master can just appear like Paimon in the story but not in combat, but can issue buff/skills depending on the mystic code. That was the most run-on
Yeah, I'm about to
fucking
say,
sentence.
my friend, that is, we call that a run-on sentence. You need some fucking commas in there.
There are some commas, but I would like a couple periods in there. Jesus.
Yeah, you need some punctuation in here.
What do you think would it work or not? How do you think it should work? Let me know your opinions. If you're on a developer team and this is how you write, I'm Concernicus.
I mean, that's basically like FGO Arcade, but with an open world map, as opposed to like the way I believe it is, where it's more confined to like small arenas.
Yeah,
What I've seen. I'm not opposed to it. I think the thing you'd have to do is you probably wouldn't do. I know we're talking about being more of a Genshin hybrid, but honestly, if you're gonna keep FGO's gameplay style, you need to almost not do the like cycling. Like it needs to be 3 people. And then your 3 reserve, maybe you can freely cycle too. But like, have 3 people on the screen and have a way to freely switch between them and issue commands and stuff. Like, it's an interesting concept, and honestly, I don't really know if FGO necessarily lends itself to exploration the way it's formatted.
not really.
Like, it could. I'm sure you could do stuff with the story to like reward exploration, but definitely I would think it should be more focused on the doing interesting things with the combat and story you could do with like an arcade style 3D space.
You gotta remember, as much as FGO is an adventure, it is not an exploration adventure. It's usually moving from point A to point B, point C, in pursuit of an objective.
Yeah, I should say it's not an open world or an action adventure.
Yes. Right.
And Dallas in chat raises a good point. This was a critical problem we experienced for a few years, where every single fucking game became Batman Arkham. Like,
Or God of
like
War.
every game was doing that style. God of War style hack and slashes were pretty popular too for a certain point. Like,
Actually, I don't know what. No. I would definitely. Devil May Cry was popular, but for some odd reason, after God of War, that's when everyone started going batshit for some odd reason.
yeah, God of War was really sticky. It's probably because DMC was probably still underground,
Maybe.
and DMC has always been extremely Japanese. So
Japanese.
but yeah, no,
Oh,
like
bro.
there's
Wow.
always that thing where like everything emulates. Not everything needs to be there. All right, now they're talking about DMC in chat. I'm not gonna get into that with DMC people. I don't do that.
We have some hardcore DMC people in our Discord.
And I appreciate though that because I think you had that conversation with them. A lot of them are like, no, that remake was like it's not what I wanted, but it wasn't that bad.
Well,
Like, I've seen a fair number of them say that. But
Yeah, no.
It's
Like,
definitely
like-
a conversation that I'm just like, nope, not doing that. I have no
they're-
dog in this fight.
Like I said, they have their opinions, but they don't like slap other people with them, which I appreciate. Which is why I don't why I don't slap them. You can't see it, but Lucky just gave a very vigorous thumbs up. All right, so I'm gonna cut it off here. We're gonna keep going because we are on a timer. So thank you very much for your comment. We move on to
We got
homeless.
some more questions going on.
We move on to Homeless Emperor. Anyway, they say, "Hi, Lucky Meg. I don't know if this is gonna be included, but I have a question. Hey, guess what? It was included, my dude. Congrats! I really wish I just had a fucking like blower.
We'll order some party blurs and kazoos.
Yeah, I need some props here. Anyway, Alexander Iskander, along with Napoleon and other kings, are often portrayed. Alexander or Iskander. Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute. I had to think. Along with Napoleon and other kings are often portrayed in Fate as cool people, and I kind of have a problem with that. I know your waifu is/was terrible and all that, but these people were warmongers who, under who dozens, if not hundreds, of innocents died, including children, along with their guns and blah blah. Ugh. Okay.
It's very long and drawn out.
Yeah.
Though I
Not
do
hundreds
want to
of
say, if you're talking about the grammar, that this person does end by saying they're not from America
Mhm.
or an English-speaking country. So
Innocents died, including children, along with other crimes like plundering, more crimes soldiers tend to commit when they're in a superior position to others and abuse their power. How do you deal with that? Reading from Switzerland, I wish you a good day. So first off, you need to move from hundreds up to thousands. And me personally, how I deal with things, 2 things. 1, it's in the past. I can't do anything about it. 2, if things did not happen the way they were, the world would not be as it was today.
Mm-hmm. And So here, Omega's going to throw down some history facts for you.
And those are my two quick answers. I do have a third one.
Okay,
about
well,
that,
my immediate clapback here is it's very interesting you bring up Alexander because it's funny. This was the thing Alexander the Great was actually known for. He was remarkably restrained as a leader militarily. At the time period, the thing you do when you took an enemy city was good old rape and pillage. Sack.
Yep.
You would sack the city. You would steal everything that wasn't nailed down, punch everybody in your way, and burn everything down and fuck off back to home. Because
Alexander installed governors in each of his cities, usually from the people that he just knocked over.
Yeah, Alexander would knock down your wall, come up to your guy, slap him around, and then be like, okay, well, so you're called Alexandria now, and I'm leaving. I got stuff to do. Like, he was about dynasty building, basically. Like, he wanted to conquer territory and expand.
Yes.
And like his nation held up under him. I think there were only a couple of cities that were just so annoying to him and his men that they did actually have a full-on sack, but that was not his policy. And yeah, okay, so there's some stuff. I mean, Napoleon's an interesting figure too. The thing about Napoleon in FGO is that he is explicitly the people's hero Napoleon. He's not supposed to be like that weird, gritty, realistic heroes Napoleon. He is like, no. I am what the people of France think of when they think of Napoleon. I'm the guy they want me to be. I'm here.
I remember, like, if I remember correctly, when Napoleon got out of prison the first time, Prayer was just all like, welcome back, motherfucker! And then other people were like, shit.
Yeah, no. He got out of prison, and the people welcomed him back. They were like, Napoleon, this shit sucks. Come back. Leave exile. And he was like, okay, well, if you say so.
Now, I'm going to go into a little bit longer talk because this also goes into partially with his philosophy with thinking about a lot of things. I usually try not to judge things of the past with the standards of today. They were completely different, and how things were done then was not how they done now. Were they necessary right even then? No, but here's the thing. People with power tend to use power. And here's the thing. It is very, very, very hard in history to enact a powerful, lasting change without aggressive action. It's really, really, really hard. This is back in the days before we had things like the UN and nations, whatever, and basically everyone's borders was basically dependent on how well you could defend them. And here's the thing. Armies on the move, basically need, what's the word to say? Money, food, and something to take their mind off the fucking killing. So those things tended to happen. So I understand why things happen. I don't think it was a good thing that it happened, but I understand why it happened. And so I don't lose sleep over it.
That's, like I think in general, that's a good thing. Like, I know this person wrote in and said, oh, this really bothered me. I'm like, don't let it bother you. That shit happened. And it's, okay, sure, you can be like, oh, but they're glorifying. I'm like, are they really, though? Those guys are not fucking dead. Or is there going to be like some weird, this is like that weird meme we talked about where people were like, oh, but gosh, you can't talk about Attila the Hun anymore. He, like, killed millions of people. And it's like, the dude's fucking dead. Is he gonna come back? Like, he's dead.
I think we were making jokes about modern Attila, just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, you don't need to cancel Attila the Hun. He's been dead it was Genghis Khan? Okay. Same thing.
Yeah, it was...
You can't cancel Genghis Khan. He's been canceled by death. He's dead, okay? Point, and he doesn't, unlike Michael Jackson or those other people you don't like anymore, he doesn't have any records even for you to buy. Like, there's nothing.
Let's get on board with canceling Spanish conquistadors, the Inquisition, several religions and churches.
I think we have already canceled both of those. Gosh, we need to. I mean, like this is like what people talking about, like moving away from Columbus Day, because.
Oh yeah, actually here in
because
Washington,
we have that relationship of realizing, oh yeah, that's really not that cool, and I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Columbus wasn't a cool dude. I'm okay if we don't call it Columbus Day anymore.
Yeah, we call it Indigenous People Day here now.
Yeah, we've moved on. Like, we're trying to promote that over that. And so, yeah, no, it's like, history changes, and you can change how you celebrate people. Your tiny waifu PNG game on your phone, no matter how much money it makes, is not, like, promoting stuff. Like, okay, we can talk about, like, a lot of people are like, when are they gonna do Hitler? I'm like, they're not gonna do Hitler. Even the Japanese, who, as we've talked about before, they have an interesting relationship with the Second World War for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, they do.
They're probably not going to do that just because that would be too weird, and they know that. They know that. They know. They're not dumb. They're connected into a wider blogosphere and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's... that would be the change of like, oh man, that's probably really sketchy. Because I would argue that there's some ideology of that Hitler guy that's still extant that you don't want to promote necessarily.
Nope.
But at the same time, Lucky, you and I have talked about this. I also don't think it's right for us to be like, Hitler never happened. Stalin didn't exist. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's how you get ignorant. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Like, I think, honestly, people are doomed to repeat history sometimes anyway, but, like, if you refuse to acknowledge the past as it happened to the best of your recollection, you won't learn anything. And, yeah, no, there's a lot of really complex people and stuff that goes on. Like, shit, even our good kings are, like, still, like, we've talked about this before. Arturi is a terrible people person.
Mm-hmm.
She is. Because she's the ideal king. Like, she's a really bitchin' king. Super lawful good. Great. What's a future king? Great stuff. Love her to death. Salt of the earth. People? No, that's not how that works.
Technically, you can say that about Solomon, too. Literally born to be a king.
Yeah, Solomon has that problem with not even, like, people, but almost, like, the world. Like, no, I am Beep Boop King Man.
Mm-hmm.
Beep Boop King Robot. What do you need? Boom, I did it. I'm Solomon. I'm super cool. It is done. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's interesting. Well, I think we're talking about David as not being a perfect king, but that's another thing, right? We're talking about that. They're talking about David was a shepherd. He was just a dude. Like, there's a lot of kings in history that are weird, both mythological and not. This is also another frequent like culture clash. Like we've talked before about how Greek mythology is really interesting, or classical mythology in general, really interesting because it really reinforces how they arguably had different values that we've drifted away from.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, does anybody in America believe in sacred hospitality anymore? I mean, a little bit. You do definitely find those southern manners. But
honestly, bring back hospitality laws or rules. Yeah.
But back in the day, in a lot of European cultures, up and down the European continent, same with a lot of places, other places too. Sacred hospitality is a really big thing, where it's just like, oh, you are a guest in my home? All right, well, I'll treat you right. And not treating your guest right was like, a blood crime. Like, that would be, like, literal grounds for war, breaking your rules of hospitality, because we lived in a world without accountability, so you had to be straight with people, or they would not be straight with you, and it's the only way you keep the social construct together. Mm-hmm. This is also not talking about all the people who took stuff, for their own political gain. A lot of people like to chat shit about Greek myths, especially deities, on account of what Ovid wrote, but Ovid was a spicy boy.
Oh yeah, no. A lot of mythological works are basically written from the perspective of the writer, and things are
like a lot of the famous Medusa was turned into a horrible monster by Athena because banging in a temple. Oh, it's funny how Poseidon doesn't get punished. That was absolutely the author, which I believe that was Ovid's particular version. That was absolutely him dunking on fucking Augustus. Like, yeah, he may have been exiled from Rome for political reasons, so he decided to recontextualize some shit, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
So
also, that also brings up another point. History is written by victors.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's a terrible shame for the science of history. But
yes, but
so yeah, if this assuages your concerns, I hope it does. If it doesn't, I mean, you do you. Like, you asked us how we deal with this stuff, and this is how. History and people especially are complex, and this is part of the reason why Lucky and I think work well together. Both of us definitely have this idea of like, well, if you can't do nothing about it, don't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, it's probably because we're both kind of anxious people about some stuff, and we have enough real shit, quote unquote, to be concerned about, that it's like, I can't be concerned about how history or modern artists interpret fucking Genghis Khan. He's dead. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to me. I have other shit to worry about.
Lucky is literally like, Tamano Mai maybe killed 10,000 people in fucking China one time. Whatever.
It's funny. We should move on, because I don't know. I think the clock's been ticking this whole time. There's actually a question.
No, I stopped it.
Okay, good. Good. Because that might actually come back in a future question.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Spoilers. Somebody asked about alignments in here somewhere, I think.
Oh, that's right. I did see that question. Okay, I'm starting the timer again, though.
All right, let us move on.
We move on. So, Homos Emperor, that was a little deep, as I like to... I actually mentioned this in the poll. Sometimes we're just talking about stuff, and then we just go deep.
Yeah, usually it's because we're talking about something else that we like springboard.
Yeah. But, I hope we helped. Or at least gave you some clarity. We move on to Guhulian God, who says, first off, have a good upcoming Thanksgiving. Well, thank you. I'm planning on having a small private function with food that I make myself. And they go on to say, as for my question, in either Rush Girl's event, voice lines, or third-party materials, do they ever explain how or why she can produce skeletal remains of dinosaurs? I mean, as a subterranean goddess, I can connect the dots as to the relationship they share with the past deceased and the Earth, but the game itself ever bring this up in any capacity? And would it have been cool to see her conjure dinosaur bones against Tiamat in the anime adaptation? What a missed opportunity.
Well, I think we all talked about how I think we were both a little sad if, like, Aresh was great as a character, and for character stuff they did not give her a lot of action in the anime, which is very sad.
Yeah, no, and also, honestly, real talk, have you actually looked at fucking attack animations? None of them make goddamn sense.
I mean, a lot of them don't. There are some efforts. That said, I will double check.
Yeah. I will personally say no. I would just say because they are the fucking long dead. Because you gotta remember, Tiamat was literally fucking... I have to pause and rephrase this. Tiamat was a literal almost dinosaur at one point. So you can basically make some inferrals that, the Mesopotamian underworld has been around since the time of the fucking dinosaurs. Therefore, their souls and, remains may have been sent down to the underworld.
Yeah, Tiamat goes back to,
Jurassic.
Yeah, her Jurassic period.
Yeah, so... Inferred from that, like I said, Lucky has no basis for this. I'm saying that right now. I have no basis from that. But because of how Tiamat being how she was, and how the Babylonian gods being around, the underworld must have been around since the Jurassic period. Therefore, under Ereshkigal's purview, or whatever abyssal thing that was before.
Yeah, I think my simple explanation, which is, and I did a quick skim, I don't think it's been mentioned anywhere explicitly, I don't have any citations, I'd have to go pop out.
Hell yeah, Tiamat was fucking
dig up the old Matt's translations, which I'm sure there are. But at a first glance, my assumption, like I see them, I'm like, well, she's a chthonic deity. Chthonic with a C, TH, means underneath the earth. But as a chthonic deity, that's pretty typical. Everything that's under the ground is in her kingdom, so naturally dinosaur bones are there. Duh.
Yeah.
I think it's just they did it because it's a cool, interesting thing to pull up and reflect on her ancientness, and but in general, the reason why her big shadow bones come out and punch people is because she's a fucking underworld deity.
Honestly, I think the favorite part of the animation is she brings her looking like lantern like a fucking dinner bell every time. That gets me.
Yeah, she shakes her little cage and they come out.
Like dinner?
Boom, boom.
So, thank you very much for the connection. Next, we go to the Peacock Daddy Cometh, who says, is there a servant who you consistently have good success using, but who others have had a hard time using? I actually have an answer for this, but Omega, do you have one?
Oh, I have to... Go ahead, I have to think.
So, my immediate thought is Tomacat. Now, a lot of people might say, well, Tomacat ain't actually that bad. And she's not. She's not. But, especially down back in the early FGO days, no one wanted to use Tomacat, because she was not Xerxes a lot. Her kit, at the time, was not the most well put together. As I said, she was still a semi-defense-oriented, AoE quick berserker. And really had nothing to, help with that. She has a Buster deck, has a AoE quick, NP, and her skills are literally a MP down, a, defense up, and an attack up. So not the worst kit, but definitely not the most cohesive. So a lot of people would be like, I can't do this, and would switch to Xerxes a lot. Lucky though, because Tomacat was one of his first SR servants, literally, I shouldn't say that. I'm not gonna say it that way. Lucky had to, implement his, mind to mouth edit function there.
Powerful function.
He had to basically, frontline Tomacat, I think for the first 4 singularities. And she worked consistently. It was literally the intent of, I can't get hurt if I kill it first. And it was pretty functional. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know necessarily if everybody had a hard time using some of these servants, but I've definitely, over my years at this, had some servants that I have relied on a lot that other people have either chosen not to use or didn't want to use.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a big, even in-game, Medusa stan. I know a lot of people talk shit about her kit because she doesn't have the hit counts you need for your dumb Scotty loops. But I didn't have a super great AoE writer for a long time because Mary needed a couple of buffs, some of which were quite Marie Antoinette needed some buffs, some of which were quite recent to actually really round out her kit. So for pure offense, especially once that first rank up came in, I was using Medusa a lot. Like, now I have multiple strong AoE writers who I utilize, but my Medusa still got 2 grails. She put in those work for that first, I would say, probably year and a half. Like, a lot of big work was done by Medusa, by me.
Mm.
So I definitely put in the numbers there. Let me see if I can sift through. I mean, I don't know. I've gotten a lot of, especially during the summer. I think a more recent one of this, especially during the Summer 3 event. I stood by my Summer Jean pretty hard. Some of that was bonus damage, but really just, I know a lot of people scoff because she's got a terrain-based buff and her stats are low, like, for damage. But really, she's another unit that if you just apply buffs carefully, she's actually can be quite good, can punch up quite a lot.
I don't know. I'm using my Summer John right now. I'm using
you're an artsman, but a lot of people were not eager to use her because they were like, but that attack stat is so low, and I was like, I'll make it work.
It's fine. It's fine.
And really, it was, and like I still occasionally use her for AoE Archer stuff. Like if I'm not going full nuke because I have a level 100 Ishtar for that. Like, but you know, if I'm doing different stuff, I will certainly still draw on my Jean. That's, I think, my biggest example. I'm scrolling through my servant list now. I'm looking at who I got high leveled. I think most of my units that I've got are definitely people that other people know about.
All right, well, then we should move on. So thank you very much for your comments. This next one comes from Moon. It's dead from the stress of projects and midterms combined because our university is full of sadists.
It is the finals time. Good luck to everybody out there if you still got work to do. Enjoy your Thanksgiving break when it comes. Holy shit, I have
they say,
XPs, I just realized.
Wish I had a question, but I'm about to cry over an economics midterm and a project I've yet to finish. I at least hope that you've had a better weekend than I and enjoy your time. Well, Moon, no, fuck that. I want you to get over this hump, smash through those finals in your projects, and have a wonderful time yourself. I am sending you the most positive vibes.
You know what you do? Is you get right back up and you eat that horse. You eat that economics midterm.
Eat it!
Also, I hope you enjoyed our mostly off-the-cuff economical commentary earlier. Also, big shout-out. I know a lot of people think Omega's a pretty big brain. Economics was always one of those things I never... Not that I took any real courses in college, but that was always one of those subjects I've never been really good at wrapping my brain around. So, shout-out to you taking a fucking economics course. Good luck on your midterm and your finals.
Like, you can only talk economics because he was actually studying for a business administration degree. Anyway, before he dropped out, because college sucks.
College especially sucks right now. God, I would not. I know how I was doing online classes for college. I would not do goo right now. I don't know. Maybe if there were more Zoom calls in the year, like, when did I finish college? 2015, 2016? I got my diploma. I could go check. I'm not gonna go check. That's dumb. But yeah, no. Like, college can be bad in a lot of ways. But I had fun with some of those classes. Anyway, let's move on.
So take those positive vibes, and we move on to still in still shock over getting Enkidu and 6 tickets. Wild. But they say, dear Lucky and Omegas, apparently you're more than you're 2 now.
I'm everywhere, baby.
Omnipresent.
In the gate.
A few weeks ago, you guys talked about having FGO having adaptations for singularities, and it has a manga one, 2 of them in fact. They divided into odd and even singularities after Orleans, and one of them has been on hiatus for a while, but it's currently back. The one that wasn't on hiatus is good, like really, really good, because it changed my opinion on Orleans. At first, for me personally, it was barely above septums, because the only difference that I actually paid attention to, but in the manga, it made me feel the tension, and man, the hype was real. It made Okeanos even better, and it's currently on the American Singularity, and I'm excited about it and highly recommend reading it. Yes, that whole section was just for me gushing over it, and I will not apologize. You do you.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, we're still going to take the moral high road that we were like, You thought there was something wrong with those singularities? Boom, got him.
They were fine all along.
Though I don't know, if people don't like Orleans because they had to fight lots of zombies or wyverns, and that's okay. That probably wasn't great for the tension, especially if you know what later FGO content is like.
That's true.
Anyway, they have a question here.
They have 2 questions. Anyway, to my question, are demon pillars demon or daemon? Also, what happened to Ophelia's dead body? Feel the fluff.
Okay. I'm pretty sure demon pillars are just demons. They are just artificial things made by people. A daemon is like weird shit. Like, not necessarily evil god outsider stuff, but definitely in that range. Like, I think there's only one actual figure who has physically appeared on a screen in a Fate property who is said to be anything like a true daemon. And there might be some obscure stuff that I'm missing, but that was actually what people were talking about with Kiara when she appears as a boss at the end of CCC. That she is like a true demon, a real weird negative thing.
Negasaver.
The demon pillars are demons. They are magical creatures based on human imagination and suffering and whatever, but they are very much of this universe, right? Like they are following the normal rules of Magecraft as created by Solomon and stuff.
Yes.
And they make a, super big tower thing. It's cool.
Anyway, thank you very much for your question. Oh, also what happened to Ophelia's dead body?
We didn't talk about it. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
At least I don't know. I don't remember them talking about it.
Nah, and I don't remember thinking about it here. Anyway, we move on. This next one comes from Rotsiv, the undeniable king of all lollies. I will fight all pretenders who say otherwise. Nah, I'll let him make believe. So,
okay, well, I mean, are you gonna let him make believe with this question?
We'll see.
Let him get away with this?
We'll see.
There's a little bit of a pop. That's always a thing for us. We don't always click read more right away. That's always the thing when you see read more and you pop it open. You're like, okay, what am I gonna get?
Mm-hmm. So let us read.
Oh boy.
Question. Hello, you two. Hope you're having a fine week. My question for this week would be this: how would you think FGO in its entirety should be translated into the anime medium? We, of course, have Babylonia as its own anime, Camillus the movie, and Solomon as whatever it'll be, but how would you guys direct anime versions of the rest of Part 1, 1.5, and Part 2? I personally would make Orleans Through America a single continuous anime based off Mortalis Stella and Tourist Realtus adaptations of the Singularities, with Orleans being a mix of both manga versions of the first chapter. The 5 pseudo singularities as 3 to 5 episode OVAs with CCC, Shamosa, Salem, and especially Agartha, based on their manga stories, and the entire of Cosmia of the Lostbelt as continuous anime, with perhaps each Lostbelt being an anime season. Certain events like Demon Tower, Summer 3 and 5, Christmas 2 and 3, and Imaginary Scramble could be smaller OVA specials, 1 to 2 episodes. Do you guys agree with this sort of direction, or do you have something different that comes to mind? Anyways, thank you for both your time, and sorry for being long-winded.
Actually, no, I don't think I would fight this very much. This is definitely... Because we have not necessarily been asked this question, but we have definitely talked about this idea before in our 3-year history of doing this show. Actually, like, doing a full-blown anime adaptation.
Yeah.
And I would generally agree. Like, you could have gone the full start at, basically where First Order started, which was an OVA. And, like, do that whole thing. But, we now have the very strong manga adaptations to draw on for, like, in terms of pacing these things out as a sequential story.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't read them cover to cover myself. I've seen bits, and I know people talk very highly of them. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's definitely something there, as it were.
Okay, there's one thing I would add to this, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me a fucking Halloween trilogy movie.
Yeah, that would be good. Some kind of something independent animation of like the OVA. Like, if we're throwing Christmases in here, especially putting Christmas 2 in here, why would you do that? I guess it's cute, but it's definitely not very plot relevant. By the way, would not be surprised if after Solomon they don't do like an OVA, like as a special holiday thing for Merry Christmas from the Underworld or something. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. They added it to the fucking main interlude, so yeah, no, like, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like, I would generally go with the first couple singularities being a big long run altogether, which would handle all that sequentially, and give you some different time to do some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you would if you did them all as one bit, you wouldn't feel the need to like overextend them to fill out a season necessarily, because you always know you've got more story.
Like honestly, like Septim and Okeanos probably wouldn't even take full seasons. Honestly,
no, depending on how you edited them, and you could do good with them. But yeah, you would probably do that as basically 2 cores, like 13 episodes each.
Yeah,
but that would still be okay. But yeah, no, you would definitely be winding those down. And if you were only doing them as a core, as a production season, basically, and you've got more coming, I don't see why you wouldn't necessarily assuming you could get away with it. I don't know like what TV licensing deals are like. You could always go like, well, Septim's only 10 episodes in the season, and we didn't feel the need to add any more. Like, maybe you could air some of those events as, like, specials for the rest of the season or whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
That might be a slight change, I guess. But still very doable. Like, you could see that, right? Like running a short interlude, basically. A main interlude, if you will. Ha 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 ha, branding. And just bring it back to that stuff. Sorry, I'm spending my 130 EXPs I had.
All right, so thank you very much for that question. Hope you like the answer. We move on to a master seeking the comfort of fluffy tales. Who says, hello there, Lucky Mega. Hope you're well. Your week has been fluffy and floofy. Actually, it's not very fluffy. Lucky had to actually list furs today, and they were actually like actual furs with like still the face. And I was all like, I feel conflicted about this.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm no longer fluffy or floofy. I have recently vacuumed like everything in my room.
Ooh. They continue though with, I was curious as to who you think has the most wholesome relationship in Chaldea, platonic or otherwise. Have a blissful day. This might sound like a cop out, but it's fucking Mash during Mash.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to think. That was my first thought, and then I just stopped.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, we're going to talk about it, but this intro, one of your answers is like, hey, Mash, let's go outside. Or, hey, let's go say hi. And Mash, who was having a little bit of a freak out, was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yes, this is wholesome and good.
Or like when you get back to your room and you're like, Mash, you should remember to check out your room too. You can have nice things, and Mash is like, oh yeah, I haven't even looked. And then you immediately pass out.
Yes.
Correct. I'm like, this is the correct answer, yes. That is 100% what happens.
Alright. Let's see here. Someone has mentioned Cat and Lip, which is also very wholesome, considering who they are. I will always remember Lip's Valentine CE. It's very wholesome, very good. Shout out to Bryn and Sigurd as well, though. They love each other to death.
Yeah,
Cleo.
I'm wondering how wholesome that is, really, because there's a lot of violence. They try, but also it's weird.
It's weird. The intent is there. I'm like real talk. I'm not gonna call Cleo and Caesar necessarily wholesome. It's mostly interesting. So it's like, what is about to happen next? Lucky continues to scream for Sita and what was Ozymandias' wife's? I always mess it up.
Nefertiti.
Thank you.
Or is it Nefertari?
See?
God damn you, Egyptians.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. So thank you. This next one comes from Seeker of Casino King Bum Bun, who says, I hope you both have a wonderful Thanksgiving. You too, if you celebrate it. I don't know where you are. We move on. 2. Spooked by gift civilization, so all I need is Tamamo. All you need is Tamamo. Who says, hey, Lucky and Meg, I hope your week went well. Question, if Type Moon ever get their act together and finally makes the 3rd entry in the Extella game series, what servants would you like to see most? What servants would you like to see added? Excuse me. For me, personally, it'd be the Sakura faces. CCC could finally be realized. Plus, VP is second best Kohai. Raiko and Musashi. Thank you. Honestly, I would just say full CCC cast. Just all of them. But
yeah,
also,
if we've got any more that we have not hit.
That also means, like, on some people's dismay, that would also mean Kiara for Lucky.
Well, I don't know how well that would work because Kiara is a human.
Yeah, it's like I don't fucking know.
I wouldn't mind if Extella acknowledged her. I don't know how well that works as a player character. But on the other hand, that was her gimmick, was that kind of like what they did with Kazuki Sensei.
Okay,
and,
so
Medea,
clearly
that like Kiara did all the fighting because Hans buffed her.
Yeah, but clearly we need a fucking Kiara Lily. Clearly.
Actually, it's interesting. I thought you were going to go with, well, then clearly Hans should be the playable character, and then Kiara should just be his stand. like in some of his animations.
That'd be interesting.
That would be pretty funny.
Oh yeah, that's right, because that's what happens now.
Yeah. It's not his normal variant of his animations, but he has variant animations which involve Kiara doing stando power.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, because we don't have the update yet.
Yeah.
Soon though, motherfuckers. I'm sure they'll work it in.
But also, I would believe it or not, I would also have a couple more. I would also like to see Bradamante and Roland added to Extella so we can continue gathering Charlemagne's paladins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting characters. Bradamante especially would be a good one because she has an excellent design with animations.
Yes.
We've definitely talked about this before. I think I hit up most of mine. I mean, there's a couple of. I mean, I can be self-serving. There's a couple of people on the APOC team that I'd love to see, and I think that Mordred would especially be a fun one to counterpoint because Artoria's in the game. You could do an interesting counterpoint with the two different fighting styles. Especially after seeing the animation of APOC. Siegfried could also be interesting to see. Another one is because Nightingale has been referenced so much by the Extra franchise, absolutely she should be an Extella game.
Yeah.
Like bring her in, let her use the chair. They can do a lot with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I do want to say though, I want to throw slight shade at that shade that was thrown about get their act together. One, how dare you? I don't think that's Type Moon's act that needs to get together, right? Because that's published by another company. It's developed by another company.
Xseed. Wait, no. Hang on, no. Those are.
Is it Xseed or Marvelous?
Well, no, I'm looking at my boxes from away. Link is Marvelous, but Extella is Xseed.
I believe those are related to each other. I don't know how though.
Yeah, no.
Subsidiaries, but yeah. So
maybe they did the localizing. I don't fucking know.
So yeah, it's not on Type Moon 100% to do that, and they are one of the things Type Moon Studio BB is supposed to do is to work with other developers when they develop larger games.
I definitely wouldn't mind a little transparency on what's being worked on, but yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, they haven't cut from the vest, and I know that a lot of companies are like that. Not necessarily just Japanese companies, but that's definitely a big Japanese thing where they've gotten blasted by leaks and by press cuts before, so they like to they hold stuff very close to the vest, and they like to be they like their announcements to be announcements. I think, to tangent slightly to Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think Nomura didn't know he was going to direct the remake until Square Enix announced they were making the remake, and were like, directed by Tetsuya Nomura, and he was like, Nani? What? Huh? Well, I guess that's my project now, thanks guys.
Cool.
So yeah, there's a little playing close to the vest. I mean, there's some stuff that we figured out, I think everybody figured they were doing something with Extra when we were getting close to that time, and it turned into the remake of Extra. So, yeah, no, there's definitely some stuff there.
Mm-hmm. But,
and I would say this, before we move on, we know for a fact there's going to be an Extella 2 at some point. Nasu has the plans for it.
Yeah, no. He literally said that Extella Link was literally to be the link between the two games.
Yeah, it was... Link is much more of a test for the developers than anything. They were trying to improve the engine and improve the game.
Yeah.
But it's definitely in their plans, because there's a lot of stuff, and I don't think I've seen literally every scene and sub-story in Extella Link yet. I just never found the time. By the way, speaking of Japanese companies, they absolutely blasted me with that streaming restrictions, which really hurt me.
Also, Akikaze Yume, yes, that is actually a good way to think about it. Link is the Epica remnant of Extella.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be necessary for the next game in the continuity, but it's a good expansion, and they did a lot of stuff with the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are plans to do it.
Yeah. So, I'm going to cut it there. We're going to keep moving. I think I might have to bring out times 2 speed.
Yeah, I assume you're looking at this next show more question.
Yes, so... This next one comes from thank you. This next one comes from Zed, just Zed, who says, comment, I recitain from 10 rules, not as good as Omega's 5 tickets, but I'm happy because she came home so quickly. It saves me funds on need for Quets and Bradamante rolls later this year. Her smile has been protected, and I am trucking along ready for Lostbelt 3. Hope your 2's week has been going well so far. Hope any rolls you guys do bear fruit. Thank you. Question. So now I feel the need to give content for this. I'm a day one Centeno fan in NA. I liked her back when I was solely playing JP. Now I play NA and JP, and she was a servant I loved and occasionally do love to use. When NA came out, I began playing. I found that actually reading her instantly ironically made me like her more, despite doing the opposite for my friends. Domestically, they saw the line "Your reward is me" line. It says that she comes across to me as using her role as a heroic trophy and her story to confess her love to the player. And I was content with being someone.
Sorry, I'm just like, wow, okay. Continue, Lucky. Sorry.
And I was content with being someone who liked a character who was a mean to hate because he was an unlikable character and not that good in combat, even after her buffs. Nowadays, my friends suddenly have a much better opinion of her in general, to the point that one friend used just SR ticket on her when they passed up servants they actively liked more than her, and I feel weird suddenly agreeing with people who not long ago were actively disliking her for a pretty justifiable reason. So my question is this: have you ever found yourself liking a servant who had little or no love from the community or a friend group? Then suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, the popularity exploded for seemingly no reason, and you feel like a weirdo hipster for liking them before everyone else did. The character you like doesn't have to be actively hated like Savino. When I began liking her, just that they weren't as popular as they currently are, and now liking them a lot.
I'm trying to think. Usually this goes the other way for me. I think I've talked about this before. I don't put up with some of the characters' shit as much as some people do. Stheno's definitely on my list, but also that's because I have a meme between... Like, that's not, before, like, speaking of that, like, buffs and stuff, my relationship with Stheno has everything to do with real life stuff and nothing to do with necessarily her character. Not that we get along great either, but, because I'm a big Medusa stan, as noted, but also because I am the man of 8 Sthenos. So, it's a thing. But no, I'm trying to think, were there any servants
See, here's Lucky's gonna answer real quick. Real talk, Lucky never cares about other people's opinions at all, so he's never been bothered. He's like, I
this. I don't know if you would be bothered, but has there been any case where you observed being like, man, you people have really turned around on this character?
There was a little bit of it for Tomacat when she got a couple buffs. I remember that. I didn't care. I
know somebody coded it in chat. I know a lot of people warmed up to Dantes because of Scotty loops, but I always liked Dantes.
Yeah, I've always liked Dantes.
I don't think people actively disliked him either, just that kind of like with Stheno, people were distracted by the fact that he wasn't a perfect unit until he got buffed, and then Scotty came out to, like, make quick into this thing.
I mean, I still like units that other people, like, don't like fucking... I find Wuzatane adorable and stuff, or even other people's like, but she's a murderer. Looking at you, Dallas.
Dallas has problems separating real history. I've definitely had this conversation. Dallas has a hard time separating real history and mythology from Fate.
Yeah.
Like, at several times we've been discussing history of, like, Fate characters related to, like, Jewish traditions and stuff, and he was like, all right, well, in the blah, blah, blah book of the Torah, I'm like, okay, Dallas, hold on a second. Do you think the people writing FGO studied it that closely? Because while they do research, I don't know if they care that much.
And even if they did do the research, they probably still didn't care that much. Let's see here. I mean, guys, it's hard. Like, see, here's the problem. I don't fully, when people start yelling about, like, things like that, I usually tune out. Like I said, like the hate and dislike usually hinges on two things. Either a story development or a meta development. Meta developments, I disregard completely. I have no idea what's going on in meta. I literally don't care. Story development is dependent on whether things are happening in NA or JP. If it's in JP, I completely ignore that and don't concern myself about it. So I'm only left with story development in NA, which, as I said, we're 2 years behind. I guarantee you, people are very, very, very rarely talking about NA story.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm having some discussion from people yammering about Kiyohime in here. I'm like, guys, no, I think some people have always liked Kiyohime.
A lot of people like Kiyohime. It's just usually people are either turned off by her yandere tendencies or they get mad that she doesn't hit harder for, AoE Berserker.
No, she was a solid block of my Berserkin.
She's one of my few Bon 10s.
No, basically what's up is that kids these days are spoiled, Lucky. They don't realize how it was back in the day when you only had FTP units and some free courts occasionally, and you were like, I'm gonna work with what I got.
Mega, I'm gonna need you to follow that under shit I already know.
An excellent one. But yeah, no, like I don't know. Like, have people I wasn't necessarily big on Yan King, but I didn't actively dislike him either. I do know that people do seem to have liked him more since he got some buffs, but I don't necessarily think that was a me thing. Like, again, like I said, I honestly, I think most of the characters that I get those weird relationships with are things that people like, where I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, you can like Kiara you like. I'm just gonna sit over here and take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's okay, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
No, so long as nobody's trying to bother me about how Kiara is actually the coolest or whatever, I'm like, whatever, okay.
Yeah, no, that's a great. No, that's definitely a thing, like, between me and Omega. It's all like, I love Kiara, and Omega's like, okay, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, I'm the One Punch Man title of just his face. Okay,
yeah,
that's me right there. And I'm like, that's where it ends. It stops there. I don't feel the need to fight Lucky about his choices.
And
Lucky
I don't
knows
feel
what
the
he's
need.
About.
And I don't feel the need to, like, convince Omega that Kiara's great. It's just
so
how
it's
it
like,
is.
I don't know. Yeah, most of it, like, I'm trying to think. Most characters that I have either liked right away or turned on are characters that were popular with somebody. There's not. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see out of Lostbelt 3. Do you think people don't like Jinkei? I think I've always liked Jinkei.
Unfortunately, yeah, I don't have super strong feelings about Jinkei. Like, my best interactions with her are fucking Christmas, where she's drunk with Ushiwaka and fucking Martha. So that's basically my entire what's the word I want to use?
Experience?
Yeah, experience with the Jinkei. So who knows? Maybe that'll change.
We'll see how Lostbelt 3 goes then.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's my only big thoughts.
Also, I guess. Wait, nope. He still fucking hated it. Never mind. I was gonna mention Caster Gillas, but I was like, nope. No people really like him.
Even after his buff, he's still not a very high performance unit, and he's still Caster Gills. So that's definitely because
I can definitely say that most people are like on the hate train for him. I'm on the neutral train. I'm like, he does stuff. He did stuff.
I think a fair number of people are like all about that, like either ironically or just because they really want to stan, as they say these days. They want to simp for Fate Zero, which I'm okay with. It's not my favorite, but it was still good. So like, no, like that's another thing. All right, you like Giles? I'm not gonna fight you about it. Yeah. But he's definitely like a weird one. Like, I don't know. I don't have any like weird pet servants yet. I don't know. I don't know how. Like, again, there might be some future shit. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna be pretty all in when those new bronzes come out and Gareth is here. And I don't know if people are gonna be like, a bronze Lance Lancer. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know, Devilish. Well, I don't know if people have flipped on Canis. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I know people are harshing Canis' buzz really bad right now, but I'm still up for that banner.
This is what I'm talking about. That's JP shit. I fucking know nothing.
Yeah, I don't. But also, I really don't know, because I feel like once her banner finally happened and she came out, and I've learned my lesson, I just casually ignore Dallas whenever he expresses his opinion on anything.
that is my usual.
It's pretty funny. Where I would like to say I think I'm actually decently friends with Dallas because he's in my D&D group, and in character, fuck you, it's appropriate. Aren't you older than me, or are we about the same age? I forget. I call everybody kids though. But we in D&D, our characters are probably some of the closest together because he's playing a zealot barbarian, so he's basically like a wild paladin man, and I'm an actual paladin, so we actually get along very well.
I don't know. I don't hate Dallas, but there's a lot of times where I feel like if I could, I would slap him and tell him to shut up.
And Dallas would probably be like, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, that's what I appreciate about Dallas. He's very opinionated, but he doesn't start a fucking crusade over his opinions.
Yeah, Dallas just usually yells out his opinions and then moves on.
Yeah. So, also, as I said, Dallas has single-handedly been the one who's been helping me with fucking Chinese pronunciations. I will always, forever fucking appreciate him.
But yeah, no, so it's like there are... Canis could be another one, but again, I don't really know if after there's more story, we'll have to see how that responds in like 2 years in Japan if there's a flip. Like, I don't know. There could be some characters that people like, they don't like. There's a lot of future shit upcoming, but I think we've... As funny as it is to say this, we've settled into kind of a meta as far as character relationships go, right? Like,
yeah,
most of the questions are going to be about new characters. There's not a lot of opportunity left to flip on old characters. Like, I don't really think have people ever really like disliked Mordred? I don't think so. I mean, I know some people don't like her, but it's not ever been like a big meta trend, which is what this person is getting at. Because I will say, even now, broadly, Stheno is still probably not a well-liked unit. I appreciate that they buffed her so I can use all my NP5 levels of her if I ever need to. And people have always talked about how you can do some fun, dumb stuff with a whole team of Snek. But she hasn't really gotten any story coverage since interludes and stuff, and kind of left it at that.
So anyway, I might pause the timer, but I'm going to cut us off there so I can restart the timer.
Yeah.
Because we got to keep going. We got to keep going. So we're going to keep going. I restart this timer. We have less than 10 minutes.
Even with the pause timer, that still works out about right, because we're at about an hour-ish now. 2 hour-ish, in the total.
So this next one coming from VTuber Rib having a conniption over Idisfield's smutty pictures of Shiro.
Accurate.
Question. Do you have a favorite FGO boss battle? Mine is the final battle in Camelot. I clutched that fight with Mash in the store support, and it was incredibly satisfying. Happy holidays and good luck on future rolls. Same to you, my dude. I mean, I gotta
be real. I think I read this question the other day. I was like, my first thought is, it's gotta be Ivan. It's gotta be that. It's gotta be the DSEA Ivan fight.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Like it's that, or probably, yeah, maybe the Scotty boss fight in 2, because like I said, we had that bug about the music stuff, so that was mostly just Grand Battle playing really loud. So like those, I think it's interesting because I don't talk a lot about music. I have a very strong emotional relationship with music, especially BGMs.
Mm-hmm. No,
so
same.
like especially where they amplify the music in that way. Like no. Like my favorite before like the standout singulars like Dinas Irae, it would be like anytime they play Grand Battle, that's my favorite one.
Lucky's kind of on the same train. My answer would honestly probably be just Gatia to the finale. I can't just say that one fight because just that whole
sequence. That's what, like 3 pips? 4 pips?
Yeah, that's like 3 pips. You do like 3 battles. You do like 2, you do 3. Like just that back to back to back with the music. Oh my god.
Yeah, the Gatia one's another big topper.
Following that, no, I'd have to say Ivan. Especially when you just have a golem in the background. I should have something to mention about that later when we're talking about the intro. Sorry, Lucky's just thinking about it. CCC, I want to say 2. Like I said, like honestly, I'm super hyped for the rerun because I'm gonna do like I did with we're gonna talk about it with Merry Christmas. I'm gonna actually read the whole thing again. Because I like it that much, and getting into that final fight with Kiara with all KPs and stuff is like it's wild. It's fucking wild. I love it. But other than that, no, those are our answers. So thank you very much. We are going to move on. This next one comes from Richard and FGO Win Narita. I'm assuming that's
that's the Strange Fake author.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Okay, making sure. But they say, hey guys, hopefully you're getting another Padoru spirit because of Padoru season. Chat, please spam me the Padoru emote. What places / cultures would you like to see FGO visit in the future events or after Lostbelt? Lucky wants to go back to Fuyuki.
There's some stuff there. There's some things.
There's some stuff there. Like I said, Lucky has spoiled himself by accident, so he knows some things.
But also there's some implications in one of those recent trailers where they do some interesting shots and reverse shots.
Yeah, so Lucky, as I said, Lucky has his own crackpot theories. He will not share them, but I would like to go back to Fuyuki. Either a new Fuyuki or maybe an old Fuyuki.
Yeah, I'd love to see some more. So honestly, I think it would be interesting to actually, especially because we are time cops, to actually look at like Seraph as it's supposed to be, like the actual extra universe Seraph, the serial phantasm. Because the event was cool, but it was a little bit of a cop out.
It was.
There was the whole digital space thing and whatnot, but it was very weird and like some of it was a little tacked on.
Like, it really wasn't Moon Cell. It was, you kind of just went to an oil rig that was kind of fucking...
Like, time and space were breaking and stuff, okay, and BB was involved, but it was not... It was not really commenting on any of the weird Moon Cell stuff. Other than that, I don't know, cultures, and places. Maybe a couple. I kind of want to see how Lostbelt's round out before I say anything else. That said, I would not mind if we had another pass at America, maybe in a different era. Like,
I keep saying, well, actually, no, I couldn't say that because,
I'm thinking,
no.
like, would you imagine, like, maybe like an actual, like, Wild West fate could be interesting? I know we used some of those themes in America, but it didn't make any gosh darn sense. Or I'm also thinking, because people have talked about urban environments before, some like 1920s.
Well, like, here's the thing I was thinking about, like, if we're gonna do something weird, I would like actually for, I know it might be kind of stepping on the American Single Areas Tour, but I would definitely like to see like a version of like World War I or World War II where the fighting was actually on America's shore. Because that you guys gotta remember. Except for a singular incident in both World Wars, there was no fighting on the American shores.
Yeah,
it was
I don't think there's been, other than the Civil War where we fought ourselves, we have not had major military action in the homeland in a long time. Yeah, 1812 was, I think, one of the big foreign ones when the Brits and the Canadians burned into the White House, and we still yell about it.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, also Lucky, I don't even think they remember over there sometimes. I've heard this from British people in particular, that they don't necessarily teach the War of American Independence the way we do.
Oh, of course not.
Which is, by the way, if you're outside of the U.S., that's usually how oftentimes our public schools and our educational system will split world history and American history.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how American history starts, with the British were assholes and didn't respect our civil liberties, so we wrote a letter telling their king to go suck a big one. And then through good old American hard work and fortitude, we beat them up. And also the French helped a little bit.
Good job, friends.
Punch,
we've had a lot of small wars, but like in the big, wars to end all wars, it's like, nah, it's over there. So I would love to see, like, because here's the thing, thanks Omega, I have this big love of World War I and World War II. So, yeah, I would like to definitely see that. Like, what happens if America actually got pulled into an actual war? Like, how would that play out?
And also, that's just the Roaring '20s is just a really interesting aesthetic. There's a reason why a lot of genres emerged in that time, and a lot of things are set in that time.
That was in the upward curve of our industrial area, so there was a lot of technologies coming out at the time.
And also, it's part of a there's that like upswing of like the transitional period, because that's immediately after the first war, which was a big deal economically, psychologically, physically for a lot of places. And then then we leave, but it was Roaring '20s, right? Because there's usually always a boom after war, and then that falls into bust because there was Great Depression, and then into the sequel you were all waiting for.
Oh wait, the Great Depression happened before World War II? I thought it started after.
Nope, it's before.
Oh,
that was our divot. That's why FDR was elected president, because he was talking about the New Deal, fish us out of that problem, and then I think the war economy was really what once again got us back on track.
Oh, okay.
Because for WDOS, that was the time when like American factories were like turning out a Sherman tank a day and shit like that. Like that was when Rosie the Riveter, all that stuff. We went absolutely apeshit,
as we do,
in the way that perhaps only America can go. All right, well, we're just going to build shit now.
That's us.
Life and liberty.
America, we hate each other until we have someone else to hate, and then we all hate them together.
And then it's like, how much do you need? You want to build a railroad from a mountain, sea to shining sea? I'll do it in 5 years. And then the other guy comes along and his monocle pops out, he spits out a cigar, and he's like, fuck you, I'll do it in 3. Dynamite.
Actually, no. This country. Actually, no, that's what I want. I want a train-based America story in fucking like...
That would be good, yeah. Because that was the thing about America, the Singularity, was they did at least keep that they knew it was pre-train.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, let's throw in Metal Gear, too. Let's have giant fucking train robots. Fuck it. But yeah, no, like... Yeah, let's throw it out on there. Let's just say, like, during World War I, like, some weird shit happened, something like that. Busted, like, production. Now there's trains, and now we have to have, like, giant train battles. Yes. Excellent. Wizard Family, Rockefeller, and Carn. Yeah, I could totally see that shit.
That was actually funnily enough, that was a setup for a Dresden Files campaign I listened to an AP of, was they were set in Cleveland, and they established that Rockefeller was actually a wizard who did a lot of big name shit.
I can believe that.
And shaped Cleveland into an interesting place, because I learned a lot of Cleveland trivia from those guys, because they were a group who were setting their game in Cleveland because that's where they were.
I need to watch that anime. I keep seeing it on my ping. That gives from Rail Romanesque, and it's literally a show about cute girls and trains. I'm like,
yeah, I'm about to say there's a non-zero number of animes about trains. Anyway, let us keep going.
Let's keep going, because I paused the timer because we have 1 minute 11 seconds, so I want to get through a couple more. We almost made it to the end, but this next one comes from. Oh, we made it to this one.
Yeah,
nice. Good job, me, with the pause. This next one came to a guy who recently got into Dresden Files. It was because of you guys. Ha! Another one. By the way, if you ever get done with Dresden Files, I highly recommend you read Codex Alera, and if you get done with that, please check out the Aeronauts Windlass. I'm actually listening to that audiobook right now because it's pretty damn good. Anyway,
I need to reread.
So this person says,
that one first, but yeah, go ahead.
What do you think of servant alignments? I do not think of a lot of them are right. For example, Tamamo and Melt. So if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Tamamo is lawful evil, right?
Yes, or neutral evil, actually, I believe.
No, neutral evil. That makes even more sense. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who has studied Tamamo's history extensively, it is perfectly on fucking point. Honestly, she could even, depending on her incarnation, I would even say she could be chaotic evil.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing. A lot of people... Yeah, because Charlotte said this twice. By the way, we do actually have an episode for this. It was number 27. I believe it was one of our first cases of...
Voice?
Yeah, it was one of Voice of St. Court's first guest appearances, if not the first. Because for some reason, he tended to show up, especially in those early days, when we were doing exposition episodes. I guess it's just where the timing worked out.
Yeah.
Or because he wanted to talk about shit.
He likes talking about shit.
Formatting. But no, so we do have a big long episode in our backlog. You should go check it out. We talk about this pretty extensively. Alignments are an interesting case. In general, though, I think the thing to think about is alignments are an overly narrow system to assign morality, but they are not necessarily... People think they're more limited than they are, because being lawful good can mean a lot of things. That can mean you're lawful stupid, a very common D&D joke if you don't know. That's usually for paladins who play themselves as incredible sticks in the mud for doing that sort of thing. We're like, oh, you did an evil? I must fight you. I cannot tell a lie. We cannot steal, like being that friend who's a huge pain in the ass. But another thing, this is important because I am playing a lawful good Paladin of Bahamut in my 5e game now, which includes some members of the community. That being lawful good is not being lawful nice.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say about, like, with Melt. You're like, why is Melt lawful good? She's like a horrific sadist. Yeah, but think about what she's made of. She is a composite figure of, deities of water, of Saraswati, a good goddess, shit like that. Is Artemis one of Melt's components? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I remember thinking about that.
Melt's got a lot of good, beneficial, civilized deities in her. Now, you can make an argument that maybe for Mysterious Alter Ego Lambda, they should have changed that to maybe like a chaotic good, because that's supposed to be when Leviathan is taking the forefront, and Leviathan is categorized as a classical demon, right? Because thanks, Christianization. But even so, she's still made up of positive deities for force. Like, it's interesting. Yeah, but it's been reclassified, Dallas, is what I'm getting at. Like, it's Leviathan is used to symbolize envy, so it's like in traditional medieval demonology. So it's like it's an interesting case where there's this weird overlaps. But even so, positive deities usually. Like, actually, a lot of people usually bring this question of, like, why is Ishtar... Because, actually, I don't know. Did people ever flip on Ishtar? That might be my answer to that question, because a lot of people used to be super harsh on Ishtar, use this guy.
I don't remember people being super harsh on Ishtar. Everyone loved the Ren face.
Okay. Lucky just ignored all those people and those useless goddess jokes, I guess. Lucky's already said he doesn't pay attention to the meta, so that follows.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that usually people go, like, why is Ishtar lawful good and Aresh is chaotic evil? I'm like, because that's how their deity structure works. Like, yeah, hate is the wrong word, but people ran that meme into the ground.
Well, that's what they do with memes.
Very hard. And I admit I was always over it. So I don't know. I'm as you can tell, I might be slightly sassy about that still. But no, like, especially if you think in classic D&D terms, Aresh is absolutely that one weird evil goddess because death deities are usually bad. Like, she resists her sister, the culture hero, right? Ishtar's a big important part of the metaphysical economy, like the promotion of her favored cities and their growth of technology and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she told the story of stealing all the knowledge from Enki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she brought all that back to her people who worshipped her in cities like Uruk and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, so she's a very important culture hero, a important high-level deity, coordinating everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Aresh is that weird death lady with all these demons and stuff, whose only jobs are basically killing people. Like,
people don't like dying.
We know that she is... Oh, like, we know that she's got a positive face on it, but she... On a metaphysical level, and obviously it said that she's softened by Rin, but on a metaphysical level, Aresh is, like, negatively opposed to her own culture. And, like, yeah, Tamamo is absolutely neutral evil. Like, have you...
Yeah, so
have
let
you
me,
met Tamamo?
I'm gonna take the mic back here. So I'm gonna say this, the first off, when thinking about alignments, just because someone has a certain alignment doesn't mean they are absent of human emotion and thoughts.
That's actually a big mistake in playing D&D is thinking your alignment is like the only thing about you, basically.
Yeah, like let's bring up pirates for example. Let's look at Francis Drake and Teach. They're pirates. They like to go out, shoot a bunch of people, steal stuff. They're usually in it for themselves. But you hang out with them, and they're not the worst people to hang out with. Drake is pretty, it's kind of a party girl, enjoys a good adventure, loves having a fun time, but she'll totally shoot a fucker who tries to take her shit. Same with Teach. He's probably a little bit more off the deep end, but like I said,
he's
I can't hate the guy.
So
Yeah, he's Blackbeard. He's crazy man, but I still can't hate him. Look at Jack, also chaotic evil. Completely a murdering.
A ghost serial killer. Also
Yes.
an adorable murder daughter.
Yes, but as I said, also adorable murder who has this big aura of innocence about her. So with those examples in mind, I'm gonna go to Tamamo, who is neutral evil. So you have to remember, as much as Tamamo wants to be your perfect wife, she also comes from a history. Let's see, what was it? 4. I think it was 4. A amalgamation of 4 different evil women. It was Lady Daji in China, Lady Kaio in India, Bao Si in China again, and then Tamano no Mai in Japan. All 4 of these women got into court, got close to an emperor, killed a bunch of people, or threw horrible murder orgies, and usually got away for a good while until they had to fucking flee. Now FGO's Tamamo is not 100% that. They do change a little bit of that lore. We bring in Amaterasu and whatnot. Actually, that reminds me. I made the greatest leap in logic. It's kind of funny. Remember how we were talking about? Actually, no. I'm gonna table that for a minute. So, yeah, Tamamo being neutral evil. Yeah, no, she makes sure. Like, you even see this you see this in Extella. Actually, Tamamo is fully capable of being cruel, decisive, and removing problems forcibly. Mm-hmm. She can, but to you, she just wants the best because she is not defined by her alignment. Just the way that sometimes is how she deals with her problems or deals with her desires is in that fashion. This is why Lucky likes to say he is lawful evil, because I don't necessarily care about the rules of others, but I do absolutely 110% care about my own rules.
And so my go-to example, which is probably becoming less culturally relevant, but my go-to example where I really clicked on how to do evil alignments without being an asshole constantly was, well, actually, it's funny because I'm going to bring up an example, but the character that I'm always like, my defining example of what's a good example of neutral evil in at least a non-dumb way, is Morrigan from Dragon Age Origins.
Yes.
Morrigan is self-serving. She's catty. She doesn't understand why you would want to help people for no benefit to herself, right? Or anything like that. Like, she's like, if you help people out of the goodness of your heart, she's just like, why would you do that? You're wasting resources. People are gonna fucking die. Because that's how she was raised. She was like Law of the Jungle raised kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I would classify, and a lot of people do, that she's neutral evil. She is not a good person. She doesn't do anything out of the goodness of her heart. She doesn't understand what the fuck the goodness of her heart is. That is a big, big hump in your relationship with her, if you try to romance her, is her trying to understand how to interpret feelings of affection and, like, goodness. And, like, that's a really, really, really good way to, like, look at all that and be like, okay, no, she's neutral evil. She's out for herself. She has goals. She's not afraid to help you to get her goals accomplished and keep you alive, especially once she starts to care about you. But also, she's not a good person.
No.
Now, there's something I think Dallas has been talking about. There's a couple of weirdness with, like, I will say I don't believe that Type Moon has the traditional D&D interpretations of chaotic and lawful. A lot of those seem to go more about how they think about certain things with relating to, like, the established timeline or whatever. Like, Archer-Gil is chaotic good, and I would say normally he should be chaotic good. There's still some concern there about... There's been some waffling over the years about whether his experience with Anger Manu actually changed him or not. Seems to be a little... Like I said, there's been some waffling. Sometimes it seems like it makes sense for it to have, like, changed his world, or other it's just like, well, I guess he just got incarnated and got a goal, and it's just incompatible with us or whatever. It's a little weird, but I would still say he normally counts as chaotic good in that mode, because he's not afraid to sass the gods and the establishment and do whatever the fuck he wants. But he is still the king. He's still a culture hero, right? Like, he's out doing it for humanity.
I mean, he did go around banging everyone's wife, but he also did stop a bunch of bad shit happening, you know?
Yeah, like, he does a thing.
He does a thing.
So it's like, nah, it's fine most of the time. I know some people yell about that when they see him in Fate's Day Night, and I'm like, I don't necessarily understand why we don't, like, why we stick so hard with it. Sometimes I truly feel like it's just, maybe it's a Japan thing, maybe it's just a Type Moon thing. We really don't want to, like, until we, like, remake Fate's Day Night, we don't want to, like, necessarily edit around any of it, but whatever. I've talked about that before. There's a couple of weird stuff. It's the chaotic lawful is usually the thing that's weird. Like, you can be like, why is Drake chaotic evil? I don't get it. Well, she's a fucking pirate, and while she was a privateer, yes, it's not like she's ever been portrayed as a good person. She kills people and steals from them for money.
Yeah.
That's not good, and she's kind of criminal, at least to some. Chaotic. You know, it's not hard. Like, for instance, all assassins are almost, or Hassans, I should say, are I believe, all lawful evil, because they are fucking murder cultists.
Yep.
They can be cool people, but they're fucking murder cultists. So, what I would say to this question, I think we've said before, is generally, like you said earlier, at least in this specific instance, don't hold it too close to your chest. Like, don't let the character be defined by their alignment. Their alignment has more to do with, like, the metaphysics and the interpretation of the character.
Yeah.
And, like, stuff like that. Well, I think the hash thing might be a little exaggerated, Loth. There's conflicting sources. It does come from the same... I do believe it does actually come from the same root word, but I've heard some things in my research for, like, wanted and stuff, that there's some questions about whether that's normal or that was just rampant European, what do we call it? Exaggeration? There's a word for this, like, I want to say, like, dramatization, I think is what I'm looking for. Like, rampant over-leveling. You could call it racism. I don't even know if it's like that, but we're like, oh, we've got to make it super flashy and exotic. This is not your boring old everyday Victorian assassin. No, but yeah. So,
I know the word. It's like sensationalize or something.
Yeah, maybe sensationalizing was what I was looking for. I really lost it there for a second, but yeah. Like, just typical European sensationalism. Oh, look at how weird these people are. Look how exotic. Yes. You don't give this shit in merry old England.
Cool. All right, but I'm gonna put the axe there. We ran out of time like ages ago.
That's fine. We were talking about alignments though. It's definitely a big question mark, right? And it makes a lot of people go, But I think the key to not stressing it is just to be Like, yeah, there's some weirdnesses that maybe don't fit, because it's not... That is a thing. I will say this, they're usually not explained. Like, I feel like if they would give explanations, they would be a lot more clear. Because I'm sure they would tell you why they picked that. But in general, other than some weird flips on the law chaos axis, for the most part, most of them make sense. And if you find it weird to be like buddying with like chaotic or evil people, one, scroll back to that conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Two, remember that much like in D&D, your character is not solely defined by their alignment. Like, you can actually have a character inside this space while still hitting those aspects of, like, what your personality does. Okay. All right.
We are done with Mailbag. Yes.
All right, I'll get rid of it. All right, well, we've been going for about almost 2.5 hours, and I got to do some talking, so I think we're going to take a short intermission.
All right.
For the people live, and then we'll come back, and we will jump into maybe a couple rerun thoughts, some Lostbelt 3 Prologue thoughts, and a Lostbelt 3 pregame. So we will be right back, and the people at home listening to the audio won't know anything different. Okay, we're recording again. We're back.
Welcome
Lucky
back.
has food now. And I've got a new water. Okay, so we are leaving the mailbag zone, leaving the post office, getting out of there. We're on a dead sprint. We can't go back. They want us to pay for our stamps.
No.
But we're already gone. It's too late for us. So first, it's not in the notes, but I think like you mentioned earlier, you might want to talk about a couple of things with the rerun, so we can do some rerun thoughts, because the rerun has been happening. It's ending in about 15 minutes, I think, as we record this right now.
I'm only going to have 6 boxes done because I'm dumb.
Yeah, whatever.
Like I said, again, because it's a rerun and I did basically everything, it's like, it's not a real loss, but again, it's one of those things of like, there are gyms, there are mats.
Yeah, it's all fun stuff. I'm not all done with my boxes either, but I'm not in a rush either, right? Because it's just like, I got a lot of stuff going on, and it's, I already did my big push to make sure I got all my Altera copies and everything out of the way. I did all the quests. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And I already don't have anybody new right now to spend the EXPs on. I get a lot of people, I get a lot of people save EXPs for the future. I'm definitely the guy, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get anything in the future, though. Why would I save? So it's like, I don't want to go crazy, you know?
If I level all my servants that I have currently, then I'll start saving.
But yeah, no, it's definitely, it's a big thing. So I'm like, I don't have any pressing projects, so I'm not super cut up about anything.
Yeah,
I got all the stakes out of the store. I really needed them. Need a couple more from logins, though. So yeah, it's just, it happened. Stuff went on. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I will say, I think I mentioned this, but I actually did read through all the story, like, as it went through. Because I said, Merry Christmas from the Underworld is a good story, and I really like it. When Sun in the Abyss played, I shed tears. Sun in the Abyss is that ending track that you play as you rocket back into the surface. That's really good. It's a mix of, the title track to Extella. Actually, I need to find out what the actual title is called. And then they threw some holiday pizzazz on it. It's really good. Other than that, no, the event is going. Like, I don't think I'm actually going to have any space for sex, but I think I grab them because I do wish to get Ishtar and the Russian Gull to 10-10-10. They are good girls and they deserve it.
But also that requires a lot of mats.
Yeah, it requires a lot of mats. Like heck.
And we don't have a like extra free or an extra like half free quest. It's only first time clears.
Yeah.
And only for Lost Belts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, guess what? I had this conversation at another time. You can literally only get stakes in Salem.
Oof.
They only drop from ghouls. Ghouls have never been used in a main story outside of Salem. Thanks, guys. Thanks. All right, well then, speaking of story, let's the Lostbelt 3 Prologue dropped very suddenly, very fast.
Very sudden. It was there. Hi.
So let's talk about that first because it was wordy, and man, I'm glad we got this. I forgot how much stuff was established here because it's actually there's a lot of recurring facts and explanation that even we, or mostly me, on the show have spread out before. And it's really good to get them out there in English, in context, and kind of go back over them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got a very good thing to talk about. So, yeah. It was 4 pips. I'm trying to think. Was the entire first pip more of our Blue Book story?
Yes.
Okay. So, we got yet another, or an even more in-detail explanation about the apocalypse. What happened.
Mm-hmm. Those 3 months.
Yeah, so something came down and surrounded the planet, destroyed all satellites and everything, blocked out, and then after a couple of days, it just started shooting down these weird root-like tendrils. Golly gee willikers, I wonder who it could be. And killed everybody. It stabbed them through the heart and they turned to ash. So it's like War of the Worlds, but even grosser.
Gross.
And it smoothed over all the world. And governments were useless because it was a giant fucking space vine. Still good to get these details about how the alien god operates and kind of how had everything worked out. So that was good to cover, and we kind of get more of the story. And he says that he's going to Area 51.
Wild.
To find out more. And then we get a fucking anime-ass last time on recap, where it literally plays the epilogue scene of Lostbelt 2 again. Which is gonna be very interesting because they'll be right next to it. Those will be like right next to each other in the record. So it'll be funny if you were literally reading the story to like end Lostbelt 2 and go into 3, and it does the immediately flashbacks to 5 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
But so we dock with the Wandering Sea again.
I do want to shout out that you kind of do call out you might have just had a recap, like immediately. So like that happened.
Yeah, and also like it's I think it's also because Gordorf is like, all right, and here's the situation, and you're like, you just recap 5 seconds ago. You just tell me about like the literal past 5 minutes. Okay, thanks, buddy. So you dock, and you hear good old Sion's voice, and she's like, and by the way, Albert said Sion, and nobody corrected him, so I'm gonna say it's probably Sion. I would assume it's normally Shion because Japan, but maybe they didn't. He's a localization guy, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So you and Mash bust on out because Holmes is still injured because it's right after Lostbelt 2.
Yeah, everyone's all like, "Can we even go outside?" And Master's just like, "I'm gonna go outside. Master, let's go.
I'm going outside. I'll do it." Bunk.
I give no fucks.
Kick open the door. Ahoy there. You wander out. It's a super cool workshop thing because Da Vinci decides to follow you just in case. She wants to do science. And you meet Sion. You have a very long conversation. This is a very great character intro for her. I think we get a lot of her in this first bit. And it's very important because she's an established character in Melty Blood, the fighting game franchise.
Yes, main character.
Yeah. So, like, it's obviously, if people are familiar with that, which you can, I believe, get some of those games on Steam.
Yes.
So, but if you're not familiar with that branch,
also, I will say though, Melty Blood is technically Tsukihime verse.
Yes. Also, it's a different universe, so there's some different rules. They're the same person, but they are not necessarily, or maybe the other way to phrase it, the other way I was thinking, they're the same character, they are not necessarily the same person because they're different continuities.
Yes.
But you get a lot of her. Sion seems like kind of a hard ass, and then she's like, "Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine."
I like she whips out a contract saying that she owns you
because she like, drops a little bomb that she made the Paper Moon and the Trimegistus computer and all that stuff that are all borked now. But she waves it off. No, listen, it's fine. That's not why we're here. And she kind of talks about how that's not something she would be casually, just starting a conversation with as a member of the Atlas Academy. Which Gordolf does pop out and he's like, "I recognize your shenanigans and uniform anywhere. That's definitely an Atlas mage." And yeah, so she takes you to the new command room. And she basically tells her story. She was looking at the numbers, as you do if you're in Atlas Academy. They constantly crunch numbers, and she was like, "Hey," she went to her dad, who runs the Atlas Academy, I believe is what she said. I know he's very important. And was like, "Hey, yo, Dad, the world breaks in 2020, or whatever. Is it 2020? 2018? 2019? Technically, it started in 2020.
I think she mentioned the 2021.
Yeah, 2020. It would have started then. So she's like, "Hey, when it becomes 2020, the world breaks," and he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Shouldn't we do something about that?" And he's like, no, you don't understand. This is Atlas Academy. You do something about it. You found it. It's your problem. It's like you break it, you bought it. You found a broken timeline. Well, you fix it. I have to fix like these 4 timelines. Which I think that's a lot more interesting and less assholish than the way I heard this phrase previously translated. That basically Atlas was just so only interested in doing their own things that they didn't take Sion seriously. This is much more like, Oh, no. They're more interested in doing their own thing because they all have their own apocalypses, basically, to avert. Like,
Yeah.
These guys are all about crunching the time numbers, the time-space numbers, and, like, figuring out future shit and running calculations. So all of them are so busy handling their own versions of a crisis that they cannot go leave to help Sion go handle it. Like, so she's like, okay, well, I'll do it again. I'll go off on my own. And she pops off to Wandering Sea, and Wandering Sea they do a lot of explanation about why the Wandering Sea is still there, but also why they won't help you, because they literally don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They're like...
But I will say, this is interesting, because technically, this might be the first collaboration between Clock Tower Atlas and the Wandering Sea.
Mm. Yeah, this is the first time in a long time that all three branches of the Mages Association technically came together.
Yeah.
Because the Wandering Sea were like, okay, we don't actually care about the future or the texture of the world. We don't give a fuck. We don't care about modern humans. That's not our thing. And so because we have so little care, we don't even care about those smug assholes up top. You know, because Kishtari is talking about, Wadame is talking about creating a new age of gods, basically. They're like, now that we don't care about that shit either. We're still trying to figure out the last one. So here's the thing. We're going to go inside. We're going to close our doors. You can have the garage, basically.
Yep.
And they give her one of their old workshop warehouses and are like, you can do whatever here. I don't care. And
if you want the Chaldeans to come here, that's cool. They just can't come in here. Ever.
Yeah, if they can't go inside the door. And some of the members of the squad are curious, but Gordolf is like, immediately has like a super PTSD about the Wandering Sea, and it's just like, no. As a direct order, I tell you, don't open that door.
Also, do you want to shout out to the captain?
Yes, so we meet the captain. I told you he was coming up. This is another interesting thing to see translated for the first time, because, yeah, he introduces himself as not revealing his true name, but, man, they really don't, and I can't imagine, because they must have translated this text a month ago, I can't imagine they would have known that JP was building up to making Captain Nemo a permanent servant. I mean, if you've seen pictures, you can add 2 and 2.
Realist talk. Like, I don't know, like, spoil, but even thinking about the reveal, I kind of feel like it's super fucking obvious.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say, was that the way this is couched in English, if you have read a book, it's not that bad, because he introduces himself as, I'm no one. Hey, guess what? Nemo in Latin is literally no one. That's what that alias means.
Number one.
And then the 2 aliases that Sion offers for him is Captain and Prince.
It's number 2.
And just, yeah, it's like, guys, are you trying to hide it? And then just they talk about his tech level and everything.
Oh yeah, number 3 really likes building ships. I'm like,
yeah, no, like, oh no, about that, he trash talks the fact that the Shadow Border can't make a sea voyage. So it's like, I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, I knew why a lot of people guessed that this was Captain Nemo already, because it's not really that. Once you get to look at the script translated in an organic fashion, it's not really that secret. Probably why he's a permanent, because they don't really lose anything if you accidentally roll him early.
Mm-hmm.
Because the interesting thing that Sion brings up earlier is that her servant, Captain Nemo, is actually a Phantom Spirit fusion, which is very interesting because I've mentioned it before. I think people have asked. I didn't think that would necessarily become a big deal because it was as cool as I think Phantom Spirits and Phantom Spirit fusion is. The way they phrased it before is that's kind of a special thing for Shinjuku. So this is interesting to see that even if it's a limited comeback. I think we've already discussed the difference between heroic and Phantom Spirits.
Yes, we did. But I do want to point out that Sion did literally say that she looked at the data from Shinjuku and was like, I can fucking use this.
Yeah, she absorbed all our records to copy it, because that's her thing. She's got a copy of all our... Yes, they have not talked about that yet in the context, so it would be a spoiler to talk about who he's fused with.
Yeah, but she did say that she literally just used whatever was lying around. So I'm like, yeah, and that was actually another thing that was kind of like, yeah, no, that's totally fucking Nemo, because it's literally underwater in a group of misanthropic fucking people. Yeah, no, she used whatever catalyst she could to just kit bash, and she was able to summon a single servant with a copy of the system, because the thing is that we learned that Sion not only built the Paper Moon, because that was the original plan for Chaldea to basically reshift before they reshifted, yeah, as it were, which we already knew. But she also copied the Trihermes computer that Atlas has, and that was eventually turned into Chaldea's Trimegistus computer, which allowed them to build the Chaldeus model, basically. Yes.
So she built the supercomputer we used and built another copy, Trimegistus 2, which is now sitting in our new command center.
Yay! Shout out to the random Shota giving peace and all the screenshots.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Also, I love that that's how they get Munier. That nerd, he's just hanging out, and then because Da Vinci left him in a closet.
Yeah.
And
well, because they weren't fully trusting, and they were already saying, "Yeah, we're gonna do things to the Shadow Boater." It's like Da Vinci's just like, "You ain't gonna touch my baby." They touched her baby.
Mm-hmm. And like, there's a month of downtime off screen, so we know they worked it out. But yeah, because the little Nemos are just running around, Munier just popped up to say hi, like a doof, like a fool.
Yeah,
I fell for the oldest trick in the book, man.
Yes, the oldest trick in the book is cute is justice.
But yeah, we get a lot of talking back and forth in there, and you know, we meet our new characters, and we reestablish our status quo, which is I think the big thing of why this came out, because now we have a Chaldea again. Basically, we've built Chaldea 2. It's not quite the same, but we have a new background. And honestly, I don't know if Lucky's seen it, but some people out there may have definitely seen the Command Center 2 background before in certain screenshots. You might have, you might not have noticed, but yeah, it's going to be a recurring backdrop for now, events and stuff, because we have a place we can return to actually do events. We've got rooms and shit, we've got a cafeteria, the whole works.
Now we don't have to be vaguely in the Epic Remnant year. Yeah,
we don't have to cram like 4 years into 1 year, or whatever the hell was going on. And there's a lot of gap time because it's explicitly established that the prologue starts just after we end Lostbelt 2, and then we do a month-long time skip while we build all this stuff. And make the repairs to the Shadow Border. I think the other big lore drop that Sion drops, because I love these scenes, there's another fucking Council of Doom scene, they sit at the table. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second, because that has a lot of big important drops in it. But the last big thing after the time skip that Sion drops is she's been studying Lostbelts. So, she shows us the map. You've seen it before, but she shows us the map, which shows where all the Lostbelts were, and future ones are. And she explains how she characterizes them. She explains the difference depth system, basically how far away they are from the foundation of humanity, and thus the more hostile they are. She also, this is I think the first time explicitly that we've been told the Britain Lostbelt is fucking weird.
Yes.
Because she says that she literally, hence why it's got an EX rank, she literally can't quantify its difference depth. She can't tell what's going on.
Yep.
And Da Vinci remembers to shout out that it's surrounded not by a storm wall, but by a barrier of light. And I was just like,
That sounds like some magic shit.
And also calls out that it's on the verge of self-destructing. She predicts that it will last months, not years.
Oh, well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't actually know the fucking Lostbelt time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the timeline. I will say that as far as I know, we are still on track to there be a Lostbelt 6 story. Like, we haven't hit that point, and then they did something weird, like a flip-flop. But it also still hasn't happened, so we don't know. Like, there's been a lot of weird gotcha moments and stuff, and they said that Lostbelt 5 Part 2 was only halfway through the Part 2 story, so, like, God fucking knows what they could do, right? Like, we could literally cruise up to the Lostbelt, and it, like, implodes and goes somewhere else, or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Also, a lot of people were shocked they forgot how big the South America one is.
How did they forget it? Literally...
I don't know. I think people just forgot but it literally covers all of the top half of South America, like all of.
I think it's because everyone just remembers that fucking the Atlantic one, and it's like all the Atlantic, it's right there, and all that.
Yeah, and that gives you an idea of how big Wojaime's Lostbelt is. It's literally the entire Atlantic Ocean. And by the way, I love this. Holmes immediately gets it. He's like, shit.
Yeah.
He's like,
I think a couple people didn't get it, and everyone's just all like, "What is it?" And you're just like,
Yeah, Gordolf doesn't follow, but Holmes turns to Da Vinci and he's like, I think in the Atlantic, there's no settlements. And he's like, oh, no, that's bad. That's going to be something
they would have 12,000 years!
Yeah, if they're established that if that's a civilization out there, that's going to be like 12,000 years old. And Da Vinci's like, yeah, it's going to suck, but we got to go there next. Because that's where Wojaime is located. He's the big boss and man. We got to fight him. Because we got to cut the head off the snake. It's very interesting, by the way, that we know that this isn't until... We knew this already. This isn't until the 5th one. So it's going to be interesting seeing what justifications come up for making us go to the other two first, because we already see why we go to Lostbelt 3. And why do we go to Lostbelt 3? Well, it starts with that cryptor meeting. They play the song, they do the whole thing, everybody's in there. Love the like the different effects of like people walking, the holograms.
Oh yeah, I like how
off.
like Koyaskaya is just literally standing like at the opposite end of Odaime.
Mm-hmm. And then when she leaves, she just leaves the matte painting basically.
Yep.
They do a lot of really great effects here. It's really good. So basically Konosuke reports in, Lostbelt 2 has fallen, Ophelia is dead. It's very sad. And I like this a lot because this gives us a chance for all the cryptors to react to this. So we learned that Hinako is kind of a shut-in, kind of keeps to herself, but she's not completely unfeeling. She's expressing her remorse, maybe, for Ophelia's death in her own way, right? Like, I think the other characters should call out to her that she's still speaking more than usual, even if she's telling Konosuke to, fuck off and die, basically.
Well, I also want to shout out to fucking Koyaskaya for also, fucking firing back.
Yeah, Konosuke is usually much more like, we've seen this before, she's usually much more like servile and like snarky and like keeping herself to herself. She goes out of her way to trade barbs with several characters in this, and which good old Pepe calls her out and is like, listen, we're all just grieving in our own way, right? It's fine.
And someone was like, I'm not grieving. Very...
Mm-hmm. We continue to learn that Beryl is a fuckboy.
Yes.
He not only is he constantly sassing Wodaime, constantly won't shut the fuck up. He also drops he's almost his own equivalent of fucking his name Agravain's like, I hate women. Like he's like, man, can't trust chicks. Am I right? Guys?
Also, he seems to have this weird hang up about MASH for some odd reason.
Yes. He's very interested in seeing MASH, and he calls MASH a piece of ass at one point, and I'm just like, oh, son, you're dead. You're a dead man. When I find you, I am going to suplex you into the sun. You and your friends are dead. Like there's a certain amount of sympathy I could have for some characters, and I'm sure they'll do some dumb twist, but like, I love that at no point so far in the English translation story have at any point we tried to make Beryl seem like he's an okay guy. Like even when Kadok is like, he's just being an asshole to me because that's his way of like getting me to relax, basically.
No.
He's still a jerk face, right? Like,
yeah.
Everybody acknowledges that he's an asshole, but he's more friendly to them than to other people.
Oh yeah, but this was after fucking Akita. Oh, is it Akita? Fuck, I can't remember.
Hinako Akuta.
Akita leaves. That Beryl just digs into Kadok for the failure in Lostbelt 1.
Calls him a fucking traitor to his face. He basically, the emergency meeting's been called. Beryl like, hey, Kadok sus.
And I do want to again shout out to fucking Koyaskaya, apparently because she was trading barbs with Akita. Akita didn't
yeah, Hinako said, I'm going back to I've reported my Lostbelt. It's not going anywhere. Okay, thanks, bye. If you send this fox here, Fox. I will kill her. Do not. It would be bad.
Mm-hmm. I think at that point, Koyaskaya leaves. I can't remember.
They after they do the big, like, the thing about,
oh, that's right.
Kadok is like, nah, I'm just got dumb luck. I just survived because that's what I do. I do like that Kadok expresses to the team his own version of respect for the master. He's like, no, listen. They are a shitty mage, and so the only thing they can do is stand out in front. But
I like how they do it. They actually try to analyze how the master is like able to fucking survive all this. It's not their opponents, because David gets into this talking about how when you go to a war you have to have like a weapon, and the master has none. And I remember this moment where Kadok just has the ellipsis. He just has 3 dots. And Attorney goes, you thinking about the time when the master was riding a fucking golem and punching a giant mammoth in the face, isn't he?
Yeah, he's thinking about how fucking wrong these guys are. But he's just been called out as a potential traitor. He doesn't want to necessarily be seen praising the Chaldean master either.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no, you guys don't fucking understand. Okay. Chaldea's master is useless, and thus they're a fucking lunatic. They walk out in front with MASH as their only protection because that's the only thing they can do to keep fighting. It's dumb and shitty, but they'll do it. So we should not, when we're building tactics, we should not consider the fact that, like, because I think Beryl says this, they can't even, the master can't even afford to stand back and let their servants take care of it from a distance.
Yeah.
And explains, like, the only thing they can do is turn life energy into magic energy for servants, etc.
Using
Use
a
the
mystic
mystic
code.
codes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To perform basic magecraft, which we are. They talk about how our level of magic talent is actually really crappy, which it is.
It is.
But still, we've gotten so far and succeeded because we have the willingness to do that, to be like, hey, MASH, let's step outside the thing, right? Whereas you can be sure that for instance, with Team A, it would either be they'd send a servant to go open the hatch first, or they would spend like 10 minutes being like, okay, who should go out? Who should go out first? I don't think that they would necessarily refuse to leave the shadow border, but I bet they would have a discussion about who would go out, right?
Yeah.
Just because they're mages and they'd be like, hold on, wait, we have to do a proper form of delegation. That's a good one, yeah. They'd argue like a D&D party, like, wait, who goes through the door first? Should the barbarian go through the door first? He's the toughest. But the rogue should go through the door so they can check for traps. But what if there is a trap and they explode and die?
Yeah,
and then eventually Ophelia would just be like, what do you want me to go outside the door? And he'd be like, no, it's fine. You don't have to go. And she'd be like, Sigurd, open that fucking door. Open this door right now.
By the way, I had to cram, but I was able to at least get 27 out of the 30 steaks out of the shop. Good job, Lucky.
So, yeah, they do this little bance. We did mention earlier, they all talk about Ophelia in their own ways. Pepe seems very torn up in his own way.
I love him so much.
The Pepster's pretty good. Hold on, I'm rewiring my audio. You guys can still hear me, but I'm switching my headphone cords around a little bit more comfortable. Okay, I established that. He even says he'll leave flowers on Ophelia's grave, because even though their spiritual systems aren't the same.
Yeah. That's something that his Lostbelt has a lot of. I'm excited to go to India.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see India. Because that's another thing. They really gave away a lot in the stream. They talked about how super cool, and I mean, they usually do that with the previews, but I was like, man, you're really going an extra mile talking about Lostbelt 3 and how it's supposed to be super cool and stuff. That said, obviously, I think everybody knows that it's Fate, so there obviously is a twist.
There's always a twist.
Nobody's gonna buy that everything is fine in a Lostbelt, otherwise it would be borked. It wouldn't be borked. But yeah, so they have this whole conversation, and then Beryl, again, absolute savage animal idiot, is like, hey, Kozskaya, you're one of the, he specifically mentions that she's one of the acolytes of the foreign god, and that she's an alter ego.
Yep, one
Though
of
I would
three.
like to point out, he says alter ego with capital letters. We've talked about this before. While alter ego is a class, it is also just a general proper noun. Tamakat, for instance, is a alter ego capital letters, but she is classed as a berserker in game. I'm pretty sure that when she becomes Summonal Tamovich, because she does get her name dropped later.
Tamovich Koyaskaya. Excuse me, run that name by me again?
Yeah, the master's like, I just imagine them reaching out and like grabbing Goldorf's face and be like, hold on, say that to me again. Because we've Tamamo named a lot of the Tamamo 9 in Saber Wars, which we have canonically experienced. So it's very much a like, hold on, try that again. I'm pretty sure she'll be summoned as a assassin, because that's her preview. Whereas
Doman.
Yeah, Doman, Onmyoji Pants, who doesn't get his name mentioned, but is alluded to by Konenskaya. He will probably be an alter ego because he's advertised that way. And she says that, by the way, love this drop. She says that Rasputin is fighting servants from normal human history in the Grecian Lostbelt.
Yeah.
Which I obviously, because time flies, that will probably be mostly over by the time we actually get to Lostbelt 5. I don't want that fucking OVA. Fucking Kyrie Rasputin fighting whatever heroes get summoned like a boss. So that's an interesting aspect, and apparently Doman just chills in India and can't be bothered.
He refuses to leave.
So she's the only one who's free. And she's like, well, getting into the Wandering Sea is not easy for me. And he's like, but you could do it, right? And she's like, yeah, I could do it. Bye. And she just teleports out.
Is this where she mentions she has independent manifestation?
Something like that. She mentions she has some different skills. Like, she can move places.
Well, no, I'm just saying, she says she has independent manifestation, and I'm just like, that's a red flag for me. I don't care what anyone says.
But she has limits to where she can choose to appear. I I think the implication is that all of the alter egos who serve the foreign god have like extra powers bolted on, but they aren't universal. Like the Wandering Sea is literally a space between spaces. She can't just fucking roll up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Much like how we couldn't just roll up. So she has to get it another way. But don't worry, she's got a source. She'll take care of it. She'll do an assassination. It'll be fine. And then we get a little bit more bants. Kadok leaves. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go check out the nightlife. Bye. I appreciate that we do get to see Kadok again. He's great. Yeah, Beryl is like, shit, I didn't think she'd actually go for it. I was just throwing out ideas. You know me, I'm Beryl. I'm an ideas guy. What do you think, David? And David's just like, yeah, I'm a guy. I have a character. I gotta be real. That's how I feel about David. Like, I get that he's supposed to be the eccentric one, but he's very much the just, yes, I am a character because I don't speak a lot and appear to be in thought. It was probably Pepe. But yeah, I appreciate that we get to see Kadok again, that he clearly thinks thoughts and has character development.
He's had some internalization.
Uh-huh. I do like that I assume he makes the complete, like, that wasn't him, like, lying. He made the completely wrong call that Chaldea would have served in prison slot, because that's the funny thing is that Gordorf was gonna full-blown hit him with the alchemist's cooking.
Yeah.
By the way, also, shout out to, I like that Sion was like, no, I ran the numbers. It was probable you were gonna die, but not certain.
Real talk, Gordolf has this really high-level survival instinct.
Yeah, and I also like that he thinks, I have surprised you. Must have thought I would have died, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I am like the Phoenix. But yeah, so we get the little thing, and I like how it ends, in that eventually after David and Beryl pop off, Wojime is just left sitting alone in the room thinking about, like, his relationship with Ophelia and stuff. Like, and I like the implications, like, obviously he did trust her a lot. He gave her a lot of tools, right?
Yeah.
Like he was keeping Surtur as all kinds of us, like insurance and all kinds of things. He trusted her a lot, and did he feel the same way about her? We don't know. He's busy. Well, yeah, we're about to get to that. So the final bit is we're the time skip happens, right?
Yeah.
So, well, you should. You got like a week. Sorry, people in chat talking about the explanation. So in the last bit, we cut back. A month has passed. Everything's rebuilt. The cafeteria's open. It's great. You get your rooms. That's cool.
I'm past that.
Yeah. You and Mash go check out the rooms. They're like home. They got a slightly different decor, but they're similar enough. And then you just lay on the bed and just pass the fuck out. Right. Like, that's... Which I'm like, no, that makes sense. You haven't slept on a real bed in a month? No, that's accurate. Mash goes about her business to go look at her room, everything, blah, blah, blah. We cut to the night. You wake up in the middle of the night, which is what happens when you just pass out on your bed at like 8 o'clock.
You've been super fucking stressed?
Yeah, you just... Meanwhile, Gordolf is slightly agitated because he wanted a private office. Which, by the way, I do appreciate that was like his number... Well, it was one of his things. That was only one of like 3. Was I need a private office. We need a fucking gourmet kitchen. What was his third thing? I don't remember. But he had... I like that he has
large fucking bathroom with a shower. Remember?
No, yeah, I think that was in his office. Is he wanted a private bathroom in his office? Like he wanted a full office setup. But no, like he's not completely selfish. He's like, listen, we're gonna need some good fucking food in here. Like he wants his position to be respected, but he's not a complete animal. But Nemo forgot to put in his office, so he's like sleeping in a sleeping bag in the warehouse still. So he decides to get up for a midnight snack. You run into him in the cafeteria. He's eating a cake. He's like, you want some tea and some cakes? And you're like, yeah. He's like, cool.
I like how he's all like, get some tea and cake and you sleep, goo.
You'll be fine. Eat some food. You'll go back to sleep. Yeah, when he's busy thinking about stuff, he counts off he names every employee and knows that they have their own place to stay. And I will note, they got all their rooms before him. He insisted on a private office, but he's still sleeping outside. Like, he didn't kick anybody out of their room or anything. Like, he knows how it works. I appreciate him more and more as time goes on.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing with his character, basically.
Like, at first I thought he was just going to kind of be an ineffective dolt, but, like, as time goes on, you actually see, no, he's very knowledgeable and actually been through a lot of shit. He just, the way he delivers it usually is...
Yeah, he's still a magus character, right? Like, he still thinks of things like magic and as mages do, but he's still he is not a completely, like, useless bungler. He's like, no, dude, I'm fucking in charge. I gotta know. All right, I'm responsible for all these people.
I attribute this to Tule.
Yeah. He definitely thinks about his tutor a couple times. But so he eats he's eating a cake, taking some tea. He gives you the cake, and then he's like, it's fine. You're my accomplice now. And you're like, what? Oh, yeah, I just found this cake here. It actually said it was for you. And then you're just like,
wait.
Eh? And then the alarm goes off, and I love this. The alarm goes off because Konenskaya comes out, and she says that her presence concealment slipped because she couldn't believe that fucking Goldorf would eat a cake addressed to a child. Which is funny. She still thinks of you as a kid, even though she's trying to fucking murder you. Because it's an assassination attempt. Rather than just pull out one of her many guns and, like, shoot you in your sleep, she tried to poison you. I guess because she was trying to make it traceless, is I think what she was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's because you both start to feel ill, and then he's just like, before you can actually get out there, he explains the story, and she just gets confused. I do love, by the way, Neo just appears, and he's just like, bong, stay away from that, stay back from that crazy lady.
She crazy.
So Konenskaya lays out her whole plan. This is where she gets called Tomovich, and Master's like, hold on, run that back. Play that again. She put an otherwise untraceable poison. Once it metabolizes, you're going to be lost in there. And it should have immediately killed you. But since you split the dosage, it's only half as strong. It'll take around 10 days to kill you. Have fun. Good luck. Bye. And then she's like, I guess the deed is done. I'm out ski. Bye. Because she says the only way you'll find an antidote is you have to fight your little friends again. Ha ha ha. Bye, bitch. Smoke bomb. She doesn't actually smoke bomb. She just teleports out. What she means, though, becomes obvious later. After a round of analysis, you go to the infirmary and all that. Holmes comes out and he says, okay, that Mr. Goldorf, the director, he's going to die in like 10 days. We found the name of the plant. It got sequenced by Trimegistus 2. It doesn't exist in the natural world anymore. I guess the implication, they don't explicitly phrase it this way, but I guess the implication is it's gone extinct naturally or because it's an element of mystery. It's like a mythic plant. It's stopped existing in normal space. And then Holmes says, so it's there. And now about you, it's a bit unfortunate for that girl. Hey, because you're fine. Holmes is like, you're actually fine. Your contract with Mash Kirilite gives you immunity to poison.
Or at least like a very strong poison resistance.
Yeah, a very strong poison resistance. To you, you're just going to feel like you have a cold. You'll be fine. Goldorf's going to fucking die, though. And Goldorf is like, I'm not okay with this. And Holmes is like, nah, that does kind of suck. We're going to have to fix it. Basically, Da Vinci, Sion, and Holmes as the brain trust have put their heads together and figured it out. The short version is Konenskaya is like, yeah, he's like, oh no, if you didn't have this, you'd be fucking dead. But they put their heads together and like, okay, so Konenskaya said she wants us to fight somebody. She's got a weird plant that we know it's got a Chinese alchemical name that doesn't exist anymore. There's only one place to be. We know there's a Lostbelt in China. We can zero sail directly out of our base to the Chinese Lostbelt in like a day, I think Da Vinci says.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go do that. And we're just gonna go to China. And that's why we're going to China. She introduces to the first servant who's been officially summoned back at Chaldea. It's Neja.
Mm-hmm. Ni hao, happy day.
Who is ready to rock and roll. And we're going to go party. We're going to go drive to China. I think the other lore bits that are very interesting is some very interesting stuff talking about MASH. Sion and Da Vinci both admit in different ways that the original Shadow Border is kind of cobbled together from whatever was around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Shadow Border's got a lot of different tech in it. What Sion is more interested in and what Da Vinci's more proud of is the Ortnax system. And talking about powering MASH as a servant. It's very interesting. They explicitly state it is impossible for MASH to recreate Galahad's mystery, Galahad's miracle, with the way the Earth is now. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
However, Sion has some ideas, and this is interesting because we've seen future previews. But basically, she tells Da Vinci, hey, I want to work with the bunker bolt system. I've got some plans that I got back at Atlas, which should horrify and terrify everybody, because remember, Atlas is full of locked down super weapons, basically. And
yes.
So Sion, the chick from the Super Weapon Academy is like, hey, Da Vinci, I want to fiddle with your project a little.
Let me go pull something out of the back.
I was studying some things. I think I can apply them to your exoskeleton system. You should just be like, oh, no.
But also, oh, yes.
And then, hey, I mean, it's semi-spoilers, but I'm about to do the pregame, so it's a spoiler time. This is why Mash gets her gun. In 2 years, this turns into Mash Gun.
Mash Gun.
I think that's most of the big story beats and plot arcs that I'm like, oh no, that's really important.
Yeah, no, like I said, Lucky has Tamamo thoughts as usual. Like, again, he feels, I don't know if it necessarily became that way, but it feels like Tamamo is giving us a chance to do shit in her own weird way.
Yes, I think it's fair to say that, like, Vitch is still a sadist.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Like, she's trying to inflict suffering and, like, cause fun shit to happen for herself.
But she never makes it, like, so it's an absolute certainty that she'll succeed. Like, real talk, she, like, as you mentioned, she's real good with guns, and literally no one could fucking see her. But she decides to use a poison cake, and when she outs, she's all like, she drops a hint that there is actually a cure.
Mm-hmm. Because it's much more amusing for her to see us struggle.
Yes.
Actually, also, there's another good point. We found out that, because the link she had was Tamamo's lipstick. Yep. She gave it to Goldorf and told him to keep it close to his heart, and he did, because he's a dork.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of snuggling involved.
He hit on her, and she was like, oh no, I've been burned in the past, I can't possibly. And Gordolf, smug asshole that he is, was like, don't worry, baby, I'll wait until your heart melts. It'll definitely happen. Oh,
I'll be the fire phoenix that melts that ice.
And she's like, okay, hold on to this for me. And then he whips it out and smashes it on the ground. Because and that happens. He held it so close to his heart, and he just forgot about it. And he's like, damn it, I should have realized. And then you say, goodbye, lipstick. Goodbye,
I did say goodbye, lipstick.
I just imagine you give a little salute. But yeah, so those are the big plot beats.
Yeah. Again, talking about independent manifestation, it's not a skill limited to, but it is a skill most commonly seen with beast class enemies. So Lucky is again on that horn.
It's also very interesting because the servants who don't have it are very powerful. It's Void Shiki and Merlin, I think. I think there might be some others later, but currently, right now, it's Shiki and Merlin are the ones who have versions of independent manifestation.
Yeah. But other than that, it's fucking Kiara, and I believe Tiamat and Solomon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume Kama has it as well, for reasons.
I don't know if it's on our stat block, but there might be some stuff later. I don't know. But yeah, we've got Kiara definitely has a version of independent manifestation, and it was talked about with Tiamat and Gutya.
Yeah. So again, I'm on that train, but again, I don't know what the other alter egos have, so I don't know if they have it too or not. But I haven't.
Yeah, that's the thing. Them being alter egos means that something has gone on with them.
Yeah,
as canonical alter egos, capital letters. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean the class stuff. Just, it's a thing.
Yep. So again, I'm excited. I'm assuming they're holding on for fucking story reasons, but I really would like fucking Dome
probably a story or a big milestone banner.
Yeah,
they've got a couple of big characters they're holding back on, and like I said, I'm pretty sure, like you said, it's a story thing. It's going to come up eventually. It just hasn't come up like when they made Nemo permanent, right?
Yeah,
like just they needed an opportunity to make his character design and release him on a banner because we didn't actually fight him. Oh yeah, Vesper. No. We only just finished talking about the intro.
Yeah.
The show in Raw has been going on for 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, Lucky ate dinner on air. I apologize if you guys heard any chewing sounds.
I don't think they did. I think you disciplined the sound pretty good. But okay, if we'll get back to speculating time later, especially depending on when stuff drops. But let's move into the official Lostbelt 3 pregame. So, we're going to break down Lostbelt 3, our third Lostbelt chapter. It will consist of 16 chapters, plus the prologue if you haven't done it yet, so that's going to give you a total, with the prologue, of 16 Saint Courts, a Grail, and a new CE. There are also 11 free quests for more Saint Courts. Okay, so, we're going to get some stuff out of the way, right away. Lostbelt 3 is known to be pretty tough in terms of fights. There are several big make-or-break fights, particularly with assassins, so be ready. I want to let everybody know also, in a lot of cases, these are DPS checks. These are not like stall and save strategies. These are like, hey, do you know how to put out a lot of damage really fast? So if you haven't been working on your caster Shuten skills, take a second. You just done a Lotto event. Hopefully you've got some QP and some skill gems. Think about it, okay? Because some of these will be a lot faster if you go for a turn and burn strat than just wait them out. Though some can be stalled. It's very interesting. But yeah, there's a couple in here that are big. You're going to want to do burst damage fast. So, the first thing that's also important to note in general is the story fights will incorporate a progressing debuff related to the master's poisoning. It prevents the use of master skills for increasing number of turns. So, not a serious ailment, but it starts at like 2 turns, and by the final couple of fights are at like 5 turns without master skills. It's an interesting integration of story and gameplay, and it also means that you can't always count on your bullshit stuff. Yeah, the pregame hasn't started until then. We had some very deep questions. Lucky used had judicious use of the pause the timer.
Yes, I did.
Don't worry, Robin, there'll be some editing for you before you have to listen to this, but yeah, it's pregame time now. We had a lot of thoughts about the prologue. It's a very meaty, beefy prologue. Okay, where was I? Yeah, okay, so the master skills. And so it's important to let everybody know, this story chapter is not a cakewalk, despite how quote-unquote weak the Lostbelt is said to be. As an example of the shenanigans, this is the only time this happens, but in the very first fight, you can only use Mash and support Nessa. That's it. That's all you get. Have fun with that. Also, some of the mobs are sabers. Great. I love it.
Why?
They're pretty weak, but it's like, the game does some interesting stuff with challenges. So for story support, you can expect to see, with some frequency, Neja, Mordred, Jinkei, Spartacus, and Red Hair, with cameos from other units. There'll be a few fun ones in there. But those are going to be your primary blocks, all of whom we've seen in the CM, which happened. It was part of the stream. It's good. I love this one. A lot of good music in here. So, like Lostbelt 2, expect to see some chunky mooks. You're going to see large bodies of mooks with upwards of 50k HP, and you're going to see, boss wave mooks, mid-bosses with like 100 to 200, maybe 300k HP. Servant bosses and other dedicated, enemy, large mob bosses, you're going to look at a minimum 300k total HP, often split between multiple break bars. This number will grow. Some enemies will have 300 to 600k per bar. Big chunk. Though that said, if you see a, 600k number, you probably only have to break their 1 bar to end the fight. There's a lot of those.
Yes.
But still, that's a lot of HP to chunk through, okay? And later enemies will use a full 3 bars to make sure you have even more slowdown. Mandatory breaks. Also, yeah, it's story, so you gotta remember, if you're using Mash, you're forced to use Ortonax. That's how it goes.
That would be...
So, yeah, there's definitely some big chunk. So, yeah, you're gonna want to remember to learn how to do damage. So, expect to see some returning enemies from Lostbelt 1 and 2. Gonna use those assets, as well as some new enemies. There's gonna be Terracotta Warriors, a new Rider type. There's some new Archer enemies who resemble tanks. I have absolutely no idea what they're going to be called in the localization, so I'm not going to try. And then Royal Guards, who are assassins who give themselves Pierce, Invul, and Damage Plus. So watch out for that. They can also give themselves Evade in certain fight. Those 3, plus Jotuns and Crit Shots, so the Stinger-type enemies from Lostbelt 1, will make up the bulk of mooks for this. Yes, there are Jotuns again, if you didn't have enough of that in Lostbelt 2. There is actually an explanation for why there are weird other Lostbelt creatures in here, but I won't spoil it.
Oh, okay.
So, let's talk about bosses. Prince of Landling will be a recurring boss. He will often be supported by Hinako. Since he's a non-damage type NP, most of his power comes from debuffing you, buffing anybody on his squad, and occasional face card damage. Like, some of his fights will be like, after this bar breaks, gets extra critical damage. So, again, don't let him just bully you, but he doesn't have a damaging NP, so you're going to want to mostly watch what his buffs are and think about his capabilities. You don't have to worry about him getting 4 NP charge and nuking you. Similar story with Leon. She shows up as an opponent and as a support a couple of times. Watch out for her added attack effects. But also she has a non-damage NP and sometimes only does her extra attack, so she's more manageable. Get a solid saber, you'll be able to beat her up so long as you, again, pay attention to what buffs she gives herself. So there's a decent amount of brain checking. No, Vesper left already. I was going to yell at them because they're talking about the fact they're showing Saber Shiki's NP. Yeah, she's on the Thanksgiving banner. Duh. I will give Vesper a semi-pass. They said they were asleep a lot, but it's definitely... Okay, good. I'm like, there's definitely some, levels of, have you existed at all since yesterday? Are you alive? Anyway, let me talk about Lan. Okay. Hey, guess who's going to be another recurring enemy? He's the 5-star on the first banner. It's Xiangyu. You're going to see him a lot. His main gimmick is being a berserker, so have fun with that. Berserker boss is recurring. Big HP. And the fact that in every fight ever, he is immune to mental debuffs. So no charm, no terror, no confusion. The terror actually might matter. So
yeah.
you can't
No,
drop
my
that
Abby.
stuns on him with Abby. Also, by the way, coincidentally, if you happen to play Summer 5 before you played Lostbelt 3, Sleep is a mental debuff, so he is full of anti-Abby tech at all times. This is kind of similar to how Surtur and Sigurd were immune to charms. They're like, okay, we know what you're going to do, you guys. You got to think harder than that. You got to use more of your brain cells. Also, there will be a later fight where, hey, no shit, he's going to team up with Consort Yu, who is an assassin, and she can remove his class disadvantage as a berserker, meaning he no longer takes ×2 bully damage, and will still do ×1.5 damage outgoing. I think he still deals half damage to foreigners as well, but still, you won't be getting your extra damage levels. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. You're going to have to fight this guy a lot. Get ready for your berserker strats, guys. So, there's definitely some ways out of that. Remember, he's just a big damagey boy. He does have an evade, though, so he does have his own forms of hard defenses. Watch out for it. Wanted coming soon. Speaking of Consort Yu, she's also here. She has a very infamous fight a lot of people talk about. She has a 600k break bar you need to chip through to end the fight. She will fire her NP every turn.
Jesus!
This is a AoE defense ignoring damage, which also removes all of her debuffs and curses the party to lose 10% of their HP per turn for 5 turns. You basically have to put in a lot of damage before she eats you. You do get a new stack of guts every turn, but she has a great method where she does a normal ass attack first, then she NPs. So,
Oh my god.
you're not guaranteed to all live through the NP with the guts, plus the curse, the whole thing. Like, this is why I'm like, I'm gonna need to give Jean some command codes, because I think I'm gonna bring her to that fight, because, Consort Yu doesn't do Pierce Invul, and will be doing debuffs, so I'm gonna try and last long enough to do some damage. But yes, it's a very rude fight people have been talking about for years. Literal years. And then there's the Chief Royal Guard. He is an assassin. Do not be fooled by this humble-looking old man. He starts with a buff that increases his attack based on the lower his HP is, and gives him an extra NP charge per turn. They both are removable, so, throw Medea at him. He's an assassin. He has 3 break bars, each are between 200 and 300k, like between those numbers. Whenever he uses an NP, he will always self-buff first, using one of his skills. He will either give himself a big attack buff, or Pierce Invul. He has a single target NP. He's an assassin, so he has 3 bars. Every 2 turns, he will NP, and he will probably Pierce Invul first. Or big attack. This is the DPS checks I'm talking about. At the end of each new turn, he will cause a new bad thing to happen in this order. First time, he will slap one of your guys with a taunt for 3 turns, and ignore class advantage while attacking.
Oh god.
So your casters are not safe from his huge damage ups, nor are your rulers. He will then have a chance to skill seal your guys for 3 turns, basically give them a confusion type buff. The next will be 3 stacks of attack plus. The final will be reduce NP gen by 1 servant of yours by 100% for 3 turns, and the last is he gives himself an arts buff. These continue to stack up, by the way, as it goes through the cycle, so it's bad.
Oh, that is bad.
When you break his first bar, he gets a huge crit buff. For 1 hit, basically, 1 turn. When you break his second bar, he gets increased attack and a chance to inflict instant death, because his NP does that. And also, he now uses both skills pre-NP. So he will get both the big attack buff and the Pierce Invul. Basically, your only hope here is to do a speed blitz play. Do not stall, do not pass go. You need to hit this man as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and just try and burn him down before he gets lucky, and One Punch Man's all your servants away. This is a very infamous boss fight, okay? The guy's got 3 break bars, so you can only do it 3 turns fast, but you're gonna want to lay in fast and quick before he gets that buff train going, and before, like I said, he just gets those rando crit kills. Because, and again, Castoria's not out in this version. If you do try to use hard defenses, there is no way to survive. He will eat a servant every turn with his NP. Every time he NPs, somebody will die. Sanzo's a good one. Melt's NP amount debuff can probably do some stuff like that. But yeah, he will. Basically, if he hits a servant, they explode. So you have to accept you will lose somebody, and you have to try and fire as fast as you can. I expect a lot of people are probably going to have to use seals and possibly wait for seals on this one.
We'll see.
We'll see how this goes. This is a spicy one. I'm very eager to get to it and try it out for myself and see what people think. Because I've got a couple ideas for strats and obviously support setups, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. You have to fight the ruler Mothman at least once. He will have 3 bars, similar stuff. He likes to charge his NP, which gives himself invul for a turn, so keep that in mind. He also taunts, but that doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure it's a solo boss fight. And remember, he's a boss, so don't think that he can't beat you up just because he's a ruler with middling attack. He's a boss, okay? And this guy defines the solo meta for a while. Because he will give himself big buffs. He also has non-standard skills to stun the party and remove his own debuffs, and he will recover 10k HP every turn. However, for story stuff, you will get an Arts Buster and Quick buff for all your servants on the start of your turn, basically. So it's tough, but you can manage, especially if you have a good Avenger ready. You can probably burn him down pretty fast. Like you think to yourself, oh, he's a ruler. Oh, his normal attack stats, fine. I'll be fine. No. You don't understand. This guy, I think every time you break his bar, he auto NPs after that, which gives him invul for a turn and big damage and crit up. Yeah, it's a spicy play, okay? And then, of course, to round it all out, the true final boss, the Rave Tree.
Yeah,
and of course, guess what? It's an assassin. Of course it is. This is the assassin story. There'll be an assassin tree. He likes to inflict curse. NP does it. Skills can do it. It's got 3 break bars. So, on its first HP bar, it starts with a high resistance to quick and arts. As you break its bars, it swaps those from the first one. It starts with quick and then does arts to buster. So it gets 2 buster resistance ups. So you have to keep this in mind. This thing's an assassin. You're going to be using casters. You want to start with a buster big hitter, like have your Sansa go in, but then you're going to either switch to face cards or need a different strat. Like as a second stringer, you can bring in melt because the quick protection goes away first, for instance. So. She was another good one because she's got those mixed cards, yeah. And you're gonna, at some point, you may just have to face card him. That said, he doesn't have anything annoying like Pierce Invul or whatever, so again, I'm gonna bring Jean and to clear all these curses off my guys and live, basically, is what I'm planning. Or maybe not, because you also get a fun story support. I won't spoil it, but you got some stuff you can do.
I'm excited.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting, like, looking at the progression of fights and characters. I'm very curious to read this one. This is, I think, we've had some baggage with the first 2 Lostbelts, right?
Yeah.
Like, stuff happened, we feel about stuff, but at the same time, there's very clearly some wrongness going on there. I really want to see how people react to this one and how it reads myself on the page, or on the screen, as it were. This is going to be an interesting one. So, that's all the story, basically. That's all the major boss fights you need to worry about. Don't worry, guys. You can do it. Plenty of people have done it. People did it, fucking blind on JP, right?
Yeah.
Like, not even sharing information, so you can do it, too. Let me tell you about the banners. So, we first already know the banner. It's going to be Zhang Yu, Lanling, and Lian. Those are all permanents.
Yeah.
As you do usually with a new story. So, obviously, roll if you want to roll, because they're rate ups, but you can also wait. About a week after, you should do the new banner, Banner 2, Shi Hongdi. Consort U and Red Hair will be released. Mothman, Shi Hongdi is limited. Consort U and Red Hair are both story locked. There are new CEs on both. They're pretty good. The 5-star one, I think it's like Earl of Blaze, that gives you 2 overcharge levels one time. That's pretty good. The new waiver one, Journey to the Horizon. Sorry, that's my voice for a second there. That gives you NP per turn, increases your buster resistance. Okay.
Dying.
I'm running out of life-affirming water juice.
Stop
because
that.
the show's been going on so long. It's been going for 3.5 hours. I'll work it out. But the final one, which I think features Rin's mom, that gives you a 10% buff on your self-buff rate. And I think it's 20% at max limit breaks, so that's actually very handy in certain niche cases. So these are all pretty fun CEs. Why are they Fate Zero themed? I guess it's because Urobuchi's the writer. Which, by the way, that was another weird thing. We already knew this from, they talked about it in JP, but on stream they talked about how it was written by Gen Urobuchi.
Yes.
Which, again, should shock nobody. He's a big China guy. It'll be interesting to see his writing in a different context.
Yes.
Because I would say, do not necessarily expect a flat-out murder fest. Remember, this is post-Thunderbolt Fantasy Gen Urobuchi. How many seasons does Thunderbolt have, actually?
2. 2 in a movie.
I keep meaning to watch it, but I never find the time.
It's good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've seen some clips. It looks fun, but not made of infinite time. But yeah, so keep your eye on the CEs. Like I said earlier, I think on the first banner, I'm going to spend any tickets I have left and just see if I get something fun. And if not, I'm rolling hard on that second banner. I'm going to chase down Consort U, and we'll see how many horses and how many moths I run into.
I'm definitely saving for the second banner too, because I would like a Consort U as well, and I'll hold off on banner 1.
Yeah, they're really interesting. Like I said, this set is really big for non-damage NPs. Lanling doesn't have a damaging NP. Leon doesn't have a damaging NP. Technically, Shinshi Wong does not have a damaging NP. Like, he gets an attack up on it. He will do damage because of it, but it does not inherently do damage. So, it's really interesting to see that in comparison. Plus, Zhang Yu, though, is he's kind of a, semi-spoilers for Wanted. I'll do it soon, I promise, but it's already shot. I just need to figure out a good time to schedule it. Maybe sometime next week. Well, it'll definitely be next week, because that's probably one of the things starting, but I'll figure out when. And it's already out for patrons, hey? Give me $5. But he's almost kind of like a 5-star Zerxalot. Like, he's got a similar kit. He doesn't get his star weight buff until, I think it's until 2 years from now. But he has buffs to increase, like, critical damage a lot, increase his own damage. He's got, like, a 3-turn Pearson Invincible. Alright, Dallas, that's not technically true. It's an AoE. But yeah, Consort U has some weird stuff with her kit as well. Her attack is abysmally low. And she has weirdness about self-buffing. That's a unit I'm going to be interested to try myself, because I like her design a lot, and I'm interested to see how I like her character. And I'm not afraid to challenge the meta and be like, I'll make this work. I do still need more AoE assassins. So, yeah, we'll see what's the haps is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my pregame, guys.
Yay!
Oh, actually, there's a note that's not in my notes, but there's one thing I will shout out to you, because there are new servants coming up. I forgot to put it in my notes, because it didn't have a good place for it. There are 2 new mats coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Bells and cores. You get bells from Terracotta Warriors and cores from those tank guys that are archers. You'll get a decent number from main quest rewards, because we get those right away. But keep an eye out if you're raising some of the new servants. They will need a few of these. So keep an eye out. I will say, I gotta double check. The cores are gold. So you will need to use a decent amount of them, but they shouldn't be, like, completely, bad. But, I gotta look up the name of those.
Oh,
what, cores? Yeah, for skills you probably need a few a pop. But, I think, Zhang Yu also needs a decent amount. But that's that's literally the last skill level, so depending on your QP levels, you may or may not need to work around that. Okay, so let's pop in. Okay, so the thing releases them, but it does not tell me.
What was that?
Sorry, I'm muttering to myself. I'm like, okay, so the release page on the wiki has the little insert that says they exist. It does not link to them, though. It just shows you the image in fucking Japanese, because it hasn't been replaced yet. So there's that. Do these not have charted out? Okay, and so the ancient bells are the other mat. They're silver. Okay. So no new bronze mats. I don't know if I'm going to do a specific Mothman song. Doing specific songs for Wanted is you got to think about some stuff. But okay, that's everything. So watch out for those new mats, and we'll be sure to hit you up with whatever our initial thoughts are whenever that comes out. That said, if it's literally gonna be like, we can do a lot, but if it's literally gonna be like probably like I think I said this off mic, if it's gonna be like Thanksgiving Day that it drops, that's even with our immense power levels and not having to go anywhere. That's still, even if we beat it in one day, we will not be talking about it in full right away.
Yeah, no.
Because hey, guess what? Other people might have had to go places. They might have family obligations. I do remind everybody once again to be safe and all that stuff, and you know, be safe with your families. But yeah, okay. So the only other last bits of the newsies, or the outro bits I want to talk about, business, is polls have concluded.
Yay! So
I talked about this last week. Holy swords, demonic swords won by a lot. So I'll set that up next week. And I don't know how long it'll go, but we'll try. You know, I'll do the best I can with what we got. I'm sure there'll be some weird stuff for me. And also, Fan Servant Friday has concluded. It was tied between King Laokan and Kagehime. For Lucky as the tiebreak. I asked his opinion in previous weeks. He said he would free Kaguya, so I went with that one.
Yeah, no.
So we will talk about that one next time.
Yeah!
That's all my business. And I think since it's almost midnight here, we gotta go on and just go ahead and wrap this up so we can go do other stuff.
Yeah, real talk. I thought I was gonna play Civ, come hell or high water to other people, but it's already fucking 9 o'clock. Jesus, us.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about. The raw audio is 3 hours and 34 minutes. Hey, we don't have to do it today. We can do it after the other thing.
Yeah, we can do it after the other thing. There will be Civ this weekend. So I have decreed.
We'll figure it out. We'll do it after we play Star Wars if we have to. We'll probably do it before then. Anyway, okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I gotta go log in and do all that stuff. But I think we're gonna wrap there. So tune in next week for probably Lostbelt 3 initial impressions. Probably. Like I said, the fact that they're like, oh, we'll fix the Rare Prism issue on the 25th has got me like, That's probably gonna require some sort of maintenance, huh? But okay. We'll see you then. Look forward to me posting the Wanted Shangyu later this week. Well, about what's up. Yeah, we'll still do it at the normal time. So, if you're listening to this live, it'll be the next day. If you're watching this on YouTube, we are planning on doing something different with what's up as an experiment. We're gonna you're gonna just pull it up and stream it straight to YouTube, Lucky?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about. I'll have to pre-make a thumbnail and shoot it to you, and think of a dumb title maybe.
Oh yeah.
But, so we're planning on just seeing if it works better as, like, a talking live stream rather than fully pre-recorded. I'll still probably run audio on it just for the sake of convenience for patrons, because that'll compress it down and make it downloadable. But if you're hearing this right now, that is probably either about to happen or is ongoing, so check it out if you're interested. We'll see if it, if the notifications or whatever get people to come in.
As soon as I figure out what time we're going to probably get started, I will probably drop an announcement. So people have a little bit of warning, but...
And also, my experience so far, YouTube just loves it if you pre-schedule that live stream.
Yeah.
If you don't pre-schedule, it gets a little weird.
I said, the idea is I'm going to be shenanigans about, because I have realized that Omega really does do the bulk work of the talking, so it is easy for me to do other things. I've been playing Genshin Impact since, through this entire pregame.
Solid.
Yeah, so...
Hey, when it goes the other way on What's Up, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I get a lot of Azure Lane work done that way. Alright, so we will see you next time for that. Make sure to tune in next week for more Let's Talk FGO. And look forward to future content and streams. We stream gameplay usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yes, Lucky has said that he is still probably streaming on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
He doesn't know what he's doing yet, but he'll do it.
I'll do it. Fun fact. I do have Age of Calamity, so I will be totally streaming that for What's Up tomorrow, if y'all are interested.
Okay. So, I think it's time for the full wrap-up, which begins a little something like, hey, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, be sure to give it a like if you liked it. If you have any comments, you can leave in the comment section down below. You can also hit us up on our Discord. That link is, as always, in our video description and on our channel page. Great place to get with our community. If you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so you can always get our latest videos. FGO's been so nonstop with news. We've been posting a lot of news desks this month, getting a big response there. Wanteds can also get posted at weird times, so make sure you're subbed up for all that stuff. And also make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or when we start going with a stream. It's a very handy feature, And I think the only other thing is to say that remind you that just like I said at the front of the show, you can support us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early in audio format for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year. And just in general, it gives you a lot of early access polls, extra stuff in there. It's great. It's a good time.
Good times.
And, that is the show. Okay, well, Lucky, let's get out of here. And I'll say, since we won't see you until after the event, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, regardless of where you're from. And be safe out there, especially on that Black Friday. Don't get trampled by COVID while trying to buy a PS5.
Please no.
They're probably a lie. Or not, I don't know. Though I've heard that Walmart's been having problems saying they're restocked and their systems been down. Anyway. We outie.